Ohio for December. Lake Erie, usually thick with ice at this point in the year, but now it's mild and overcast and a bit rainy on a Sunday afternoon in December as the Browns and the Chargers come into this game, which both coaches feel must be won to stay in the playoff picture. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Criqui, and welcome to Cleveland, Ohio, where the temperature right now is about 68 degrees, 35 degrees warmer than usual. San Diego got a break there, but rain is going to be a factor in this game. Heavy rain is forecast for this afternoon throughout the Cleveland area, as the Browns and the Chargers each come into the game with records of 2-2. Both coaches very adamant about the importance of this fifth game of the season. They've got to win to stay in the playoff hunt. I'm joined by Len Dawson, who spent some time early in his career here in Cleveland. And Len, you know about the pressure quarterback space in any city at any time, but Brian Sipe right now is going through a lot in Cleveland.
I didn't have the problems Brian's having right now. I didn't play when I was at Cleveland, but Brian heard the Boo Birds here in Cleveland a couple of years ago, and the pressure, I think, definitely is on him. He's not having a typical Brian Sipe year, only throwing a completion average of 46% as opposed to 55 or 60% that he's had in the past. Last week, he was taken out of the ball game against Dallas. He was replaced by this young quarterback, number 16, Paul McDonald. He's throwing at a 60% completion average. I talked to Sam Ratigliano prior to the ball game. He said, Brian Sipe is my quarterback, but if he is not throwing strikes, I'm going to go to Paul McDonald.
Go to the bullpen. In assessing the San Diego Chargers, the team with the fabulous offense, Ratigliano said, we talk about Fouts and Winslow and Chandler, and they're all great players, but the guy you have to stop if you're going to slow him down is Chuck Muncy.
Number 46 is the key to this ball game for the Cleveland Browns. They must stop him. They cannot afford to have Fouts have both the passing and the running game. So a very key man in this game is 46, Chuck Muncy.
We're just about set to go on a warm but rainy day in Cleveland. Light rain falling right now. Coach Don Coryell of the San Diego Chargers bringing his team in. They came in on Friday, have worked a couple of times at Cleveland Stadium. He's not happy with the field condition. It's a stadium built on landfill, and there's a little moisture built in even without the rain. So footing could be a problem, particularly if the rain stays heavy throughout the afternoon. It's lessened up a great deal now at kickoff time, but the forecast is for as much as 2 inches of rain. His counterpart, Don Coryell, is Sam Ratigliano, man who directed these Browns a couple of years ago to an 11-5 season, received some Coach of the Year honors. Last year, the Browns tailed off to 5-11. Now they stand at 2-2 and coming off a defeat that Ratigliano and his players all agree was embarrassing Thanksgiving Day at Dallas. The Browns kick it off, and James Brooks will take the ball for the San Diego Chargers. To the 10. And Cleveland special teams cut him down at the 19-yard line. James Brooks returning the kickoff, and the first man down to get him was Curtis Weathers, one of the Brown linebackers, 55. Flag down, though.
On the kickers.
Browns were offside kicking the ball off, so San Diego with the ball at their 20 might want to go again. I think they will.
Don, one thing, this field.
Offside. Kickers, we will re-kick again.
This field in the area where the ball is being kicked to San Diego, it has been sodded. That was the infield for baseball. And if it continues to rain, it is really going to be a problem in that area. I was down there prior to the game, and there is a lot of moisture down on that field right now.
It's loose, the turf anyway, and right now, though, the rain is not a real problem, but we mentioned it very well could be, and very shortly. The lights are on at Cleveland Stadium, right on the shores of Lake Erie. Normally in December, it is not only in the low 30s, the average mean temperature, but there's heavy winds coming up, and right now, winds don't seem to be a factor at all. Flags aren't out. After the offside penalty on the kickoff, the Cleveland Browns are set back now to their 30-yard line. They'll kick it again after the 5-yard penalty, so Brooks is back once again.
Cleveland Browns, if they do not, or I should say San Diego, if they don't have a penalty, should get the ball in pretty good field position. Away from the bad part.
Is the man who kicks off. A spinner comes down, and Brooks will take it at the 7. 15. He's to the 20 and out to the 29-yard line. So there was a net gain after taking a second kickoff, about 9 yards for the Cleveland Browns. Bill Jackson making the tackle for Cleveland. Net gain of about 9 yards for the San Diego Chargers. Now San Diego with Dan Fouts. Number 14 at quarterback comes out first and 10. His runners, 2 big ones, Chuck Muncy and John Cappelletti. Although we'll see a lot of James Brooks. Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler, Kellen Winslow, 3 outstanding receivers. The receivers in the most prolific passing game in football history. And there's the offensive blockers for Dan Fouts. They take good care of him, too. On first and 10 for the Chargers. They go to Chuck Muncie, and he loses the ball on the first carry and is stuck hard back at the 24-yard line. So Muncie, who's had his problems holding on, loses the grip on the first play from scrimmage. Curtis Weathers knocked him down.
The field is not really bad right now, but you can see the ball slips right out of Muncie's hands. This could be a problem all afternoon long. 55 Weathers coming up from the outside. As you can see, it looks like Fouts stuck the ball right in the stomach of Chuck Muncie. Did not get control of it. And as I said, it isn't really raining very hard at the present time. If it come down like they think the rain is going to come, it's really going to be a problem handling on the ball.
Muncie comes in motion, and Fouts on 2nd and 13 puts it down the middle, and with the reception is the ever-present veteran Charlie Joyner, who runs the perfect pass routes in the opinion of his quarterback. Fouts always knows where Charlie Joyner is going to be, and on that play it was an 18-yard gain on the first down. Defensively for the Browns, Marshall Harris is at one end. Bob Golick, an acquisition from New England, starting at the nose tackle. Mike Robinson, like Golick, a native of Cleveland, is at the right end. Chip Banks, a great one out of USC, starting at outside linebacker. Cousineau, the much-talked-about inside linebacker from Ohio State. Ambrose and Weathers, the other two backers, as James Brooks runs on 1st and 10. Gets across the 45, out to the 47. He lost the ball, but after the whistle. Dick Ambrose brought him down along with Chip Banks. Secondary for the Cleveland Browns. At the corners, Hanford Dixon and Lawrence Johnson. Quentin Burrell is one of the safeties, and Clarence Scott is the other.
Don, you notice both running plays went wide against that Cleveland Brown defense. The Dallas Cowboys had a lot of success going wide against the Browns. They had some problems with their cornerbacks coming up and forcing well.
Cleveland came a cropper at Dallas, losing 31-14, but it was 31-0 at one point. Now Fouts throwing on 2nd and long yardage. Once he gets it, the defense is there and hits on him at the 50-yard line, a gain of only 2 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Judson Flint, 20, was the first man to Chuck Muncie. He is the primary target of the Cleveland defense. They feel they've got to get to Muncie and slow him down, because last year when the Chargers came in here on opening day, San Diego is absolutely awesome, beating Cleveland 44-14. Muncie had his greatest day as a rusher in the NFL. He ran for 161 yards against Cleveland. They don't want to see that happen again if they can help it. 3rd and a long 5 for the Chargers, just short of midfield. Fouts throws, and Joyner can't get to it. There's a penalty marker down in the San Diego backfield. Going to be against the Chargers. They were holding as Cleveland got a good rush.
You don't get that too often on Dan Fouts to get back. You don't get to him because Dan Fouts is going to get rid of that ball very, very quickly. I'm sure they'll refuse this penalty.
Holding, number 63, offense, decline, 4th down.
Pat Haggerty, the referee, and so the Browns defense comes up with the big play, getting the rush on, forcing the hold. The pass was incomplete, so they declined it, as Lenny pointed out, and it now will be a punting down. The Green Bay Packers have jumped in front of the Bills on a Jan Stenerud field goal from 33 yards out. 3-0. Green Bay over Buffalo, playing at Milwaukee. Dwight Walker, a rookie, is back for Cleveland as a lone safety. The Browns put 10 men up on the line. Now they drop some people off to block for the return man. The punt downfield by Maury Buford is taken 5 to the 10. Head down. The returner Walker gets the ball out to about the 14-yard line, where he's knocked down by Jim Jodap. 45-yard punt, 5-yard return. Browns go on offense when we come back. National Football League. Today's game is brought to you by Chip Banks, Browns #1 draft choice. A brilliant young linebacker is being attended to. Cleveland going on offense for the first time. Shifting into an open backfield. His wide receivers now come in motion. That's Logan. Ryan Seifert, quarterback, after a long count, goes to Pruitt. And this hard hitter, Purdue University, takes the ball ahead across the 15. And the Charger left side sweeps him under, led by big 68 Leroy Jones. A little extra girth in that big fella in the middle there, Louis Kelcher. Ryan Seifert, quarterback, Charles White and Mike Pruitt, the starting runners. Dave Logan, Ricky Feature, and a superb tight end, Ozzie Newsome, the primary pass catchers. Good offensive line, particularly with Doug Deacon back after a hand injury. Jackson DeLeon, DeLamiere, and Cody Reiser. The Second down and 8. Cleveland Browns, no score in the first quarter. Sipe gets time and he gets his man. Free ball is incomplete. Ball came down to the fullback, Mike Pruitt. He lost it after he was stuck hard by Mike Williams, never had possession. You see Pruitt get leveled, and so now the Browns will go to a third down and long yardage inside their 15-yard line, right about the 15.
This is a situation that Sipe does not want to get into, third and long, because San Diego knows he's going to have to put the ball in the air.
Dino Hall has come in the game. Unusual formation. Now they shift into the shotgun with 3 wide receivers out. Newsome is also one. Sipe takes a drop, stands in, he lets her fly, and the ball is intercepted by the San Diego Chargers. Mike Williams, the cornerback, picked it off after it skipped off the hands of Ozzie Newsome. And so the Chargers get a big play from Mike Williams and take over the ball inside the 30-yard line of the Cleveland Browns.
So one thing the Cleveland Browns did not want to do is give up the football by an interception. Sipe going back to throw. He looks like he has plenty of time to get rid of the football. It does go off the hands. It would have been a rather difficult catch for Newsome, but it pops up in the air, and you can look at 1, 2, 3 San Diego defensive men around the football. They come up with it. Excellent field position.
Right now, no rain falling. Overcast day, though, with the lights on, and no score in the first quarter. 10:55 to play, and the Chargers with their second possession, 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Fouts keeps it himself, gets inside the 20, and gets out of bounds at about the 19-yard line. He's going to be very close to a first down. Added in the playbook, I don't think, is it, Lenny?
No, Dan Fouts wanted to get the ball to his back, but he wasn't sure that he was going to get it to him securely, so he kept it and rolled around to the outside. Here it is right here. He wants to give it to him. Muncy was the man he wanted to give the football to, and I can assure you that that is not in the playbook for Dan Fouts and the San Diego Chargers. And Dan is intelligent enough to know, get to the sidelines as quickly as possible and get down.
Don Coryell, I think he might be upset, Lenny, that his quarterback was running. Although he liked the end result, a 9-yard gain, 2nd down and 1. Fouts to throw, looks into the end zone. He kills it. There's Charlie Joyner down at the 2-yard line. And a penalty marker comes in after a late hit, so it'll be advanced to the 1, and 1st and goal will result there for the San Diego Chargers in this scoreless game, but it might not be scoreless long. Hit against the Cleveland Browns. So now the Browns defense with only a yard separating the ball in their end zone.
Sipe had plenty of time to get rid of the football. You can see right there, 56 is Chip Banks coming in, making the late hit on Charlie Joyner on the 1-yard line now for the San Diego Chargers. You look at it realistically, they have 4 shots to run the ball to get it in for a score.
I think we can look for him to run it every time and give it to Muncy right here. Right behind the blocking of Cappelletti. There's Muncy, and he is into the end zone for a touchdown for San Diego. Fouts, when he's down close, wants to just pound it at the defense. He didn't want to fool putting it up at that point.
If you have a man like Chuck Muncy, he's 235 pounds, and the great strength that he has, give him the football on the 1-yard line. They may stop him once if they get great penetration, but if he's got 3 shots of it at it, you got to figure you're going to get into the end zone.
When you look back at how this drive started, Lenny, I don't think you can really fault Brian Sipe for the interception. It was a high throw, but Newsome often gets those, and it did skip off his hands on this wet day and ended up in the arms of Mike Williams, and subsequently the Chargers take it in. With Penerska ready to try the point after Luther holding. Ralph Penerska puts up the 7th point of the game, and so with 10 minutes and a second to play in the first quarter, the San Diego Chargers have gone in front on a 28-yard drive with Chuck Muncy on the payoff end. Took them just 54 seconds to get in, and there's Muncy with the score, and it's 7-0. San Diego Chargers in the lead. Don Coryell's Chargers have taken a 7-0 lead over the Cleveland Browns of San Bertigliano, and now Penerska hits a line drive kickoff that'll be fielded on the 1-hop. White Walker runs the ball back across the 20, almost broke the crust. He got out to the 25, took a hard hit there. Ralph Penerska with that off during strike injury, fell down playing tennis and broke the radius bone in his wrist.
Only kickers can do things like that, I guess. He's had his share of problems, but It's amazing he comes out and he's able to accomplish what he has. He's the leading scorer, or tied for the lead in the AFC with 33 points, now has 34. For the Cleveland Browns, this is a very important series right now. They've got to get out of the hole. They've got to move that ball offensively.
9:53 to go in the first quarter. Brian Sipe out of San Diego State, where he led the nation in passing under Don Coryell as a senior, goes to the run and gives it off to his fullback, Mike Pruitt, who has been an excellent back for the Cleveland Browns. 1,000-yard rusher the past 3 seasons. Good receiver. Cliff Thrift, 59, middle linebacker for the Chargers, knocked him down.
Both of these teams offensively are very similar. They like to throw the football. They've got an outstanding running back, Pruitt for the Browns and Muncy for the San Diego Chargers.
Brian Sipe with his team set up now, second down and 4. Chargers leading 7-0 first quarter. Here comes Mike Pruitt. And the Chargers Phil Knight on defense, knocked the man down for a gain of only a yard. And while we have a moment, let's go to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Don Criqui. This is Mike Adamle in New York. In Chicago, the fog has lifted and the Bears have come up with this sunny performance. Rookie quarterback Jim McMahon finds Ken Marjoram in the end zone, and the Bears, like the Chargers, lead 7-0 over the Patriots. Don?
Thank you, Mike. Mike Adamle, a familiar name here in Cleveland, where his dad, Tony Adamle, was the captain of some of those great Brown teams.
I used to come watch his father play.
Dr. Tony Adamle.
Yes. Shotgun, big play for the Cleveland Browns. They got to get something going.
Third down and 5. Sarge stands in. He puts it out there, and Dino Hall diving for the ball, can't get to it. So the boos rain down. Brian Sipes heard those the last couple of times he's played here at Cleveland Stadium. Dave Lewis, a big linebacker out of Southern California, was covering on the play, but as we saw, the throw was too wide for a diving Dino Hall.
In defense of Brian Sipe, I was looking at all of the receivers. They were covered. Dino Hall would have had to come up with a fantastic catch. He was covered very well on that play by the linebacker.
Steve Cox, a good kicker out of Arkansas, kicks off, does the punting for the Cleveland Browns. Of course, can do placement work on long field goal tries. Matt Barr is the normal field goal kicker for Cleveland. Chargers leading 7-0, and now here's Cox against the big rush, gets the ball away, and very well. Drives James Brooks back to the 23. This guy's trouble. James Brooks is almost open, and he comes across the 45-yard line out to the 46. And the high-power offense of the Don Coryell Chargers comes back out onto the field, set to go 1st and 10 when we come back to Cleveland. Don Criqui with Lynn Dawson back in Cleveland, Ohio. Lenny, you've spent a lot of time here in Cleveland as a player. You grew up in that farm here. Have you ever seen it in the high 60s in December?
No, I really haven't. I've seen a lot of times when the games are here and the snow is blowing and it's extremely cold. We are still forecasting rain for this afternoon. If that happens, it's definitely going to be a problem out there this afternoon.
Right now, the Chargers are moving, and here goes Muncy with the ball. 1st down and 10 as he takes it out to the 49-yard line. On a 1st down carry, got about 3 yards, and Curtis Weathers, who was a tight end when he came to Cleveland, number 55, now an outside linebacker, starting in the place of one of the best players in the league at that position, although he doesn't get the credit for it, hasn't so far. That's the linebacker from Southern California, Clay Matthews, who's out with a broken arm, suffered the preseason, although they're hopeful of having him back. The Eagles have come a cropper this season, 1-3, and looking down today as they trail St. Louis 10-0. Muncy on a 2nd and 7, busts up the middle and takes it inside the 40, where Clinton Burrell, the free safety, knocked him down, but Chuck Muncy's off and running early, Lenny.
Don, we said early in this forecast, they've got to stop this man, Chuck Muncy, because you cannot give Dan Fouts both the running and the passing. Muncy has already scored 1 touchdown. That was a big play, running straight up the gut of the defense of the Cleveland Browns.
10 for the Chargers. 39-yard line of Cleveland. Fouts with the drop. He's got time. Here comes the rush, and he screens it off to James Brooks. Penalty markers come in. This is all going to come back as James Brooks got away as the beneficiary of a clip that was caught by the official. Brooks is something. They go from these big backs like Cappelletti at 220, and Muncy's now playing at 235 to Brooks, who comes in about 180.
He gives them the quickness to the outside that they need, although Muncy is an outstanding runner to the outside. He has about 4.4, 4.5 speed for a big man. Can you imagine that? 235 pounds, about 6'4", 6'5", and can run a 4.40.
A remarkable athlete. And there's another one, Cousineau, who was the #1 draft choice in the National Football League 3 years ago.
Personal foul, late hit, number 29. Offsetting penalties.
Hanford Dixon. And he got offsetting penalties. The clip and the late hit by Hanford Dixon. And so they'll do that play over.
Well, yeah, I think you can see some of the frustration coming up for the Cleveland Browns. They know that they have to stop the running attack. 49 Clinton Burrell makes the initial hit. Bring him down, and that's a very questionable call.
Tough
Number
call.
29 on Dixon. Very questionable.
Green Bay with another Stenerud field goal from 25 yards out has extended its lead over the Bills to 6-0. So the play comes back, and it's 1st and 10 again for San Diego. 39-yard line of Cleveland. Joyner's open again. He's so good. Charlie Joyner has caught 510 passes in his career now with 2 receptions today. And while we have a moment again with 6:46 to play in the first quarter, let's go back to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Don Criqui. This is Mike Adamle. In a big game to Cleveland fans, Pittsburgh's Terry Bradshaw, who was hurt a week ago against the Seahawks, has responded with this 3-yard touchdown pass to John Stallworth, and the Steelers lead the Chiefs 7-0. Don?
Thank you, Mike. Bradshaw, that's part of his game plan, isn't it? Lenny get hurt and come back.
It used to be late in the first half, he gets hurt and comes back to second.
Chargers leading 7-0, threatening again as they go back to Muncie on a wet field, a grass field, though, the kind of a surface that these Chargers like. Marshall Harris made the tackle, number 90.
One thing, too, about a wet field like it is this afternoon, the best thing to do is go straight ahead because you don't have to worry about losing your footing going straight ahead like you would if you're going sideways. Browns bench, number 17 is Ryan Sipe, who's heard the Boo Birds once again this afternoon.
Sipe said this game of pressure before. Here's a blitz, but they get it away. Fouts got the ball away. A well-executed blitz by the Browns. Clinton Burrell came. And even Fouts, who's able to pick up and read a blitz as good as anybody in the league, couldn't get the ball away with any accuracy as he almost took a sack.
It's very difficult to get to Dan Fouts with just 3 men rushing him. That time they had the safety man Burrell coming after him, and they're going to do that every once in a while to change up things, make him get rid of the ball before he wants to. You're not going to get to Fouts very often, but if you can get your hands in front of his face to impair his vision, then perhaps that's just as good as a sack.
Extra defensive backs come in now as the Chargers deploy 4 wide receivers. A lone setback, that's Muncie on 3rd and 7. Wes Chandler catches the ball, does the dance, and goes down to the 3. So Wes Chandler, who didn't play last week in the win over Denver, comes back to the lineup this week and gets that play good for a 19-yard gain and a 1st down inside the 5.
Dan Fouts is limping somewhat after this play. Got rid of the football, got hit just as he got rid of it. An outstanding reception by Wes Chandler. And you can see the agility of this fine wide receiver and the great running ability that he has. Many considered him when he was in the draft as the top pick in the draft that year.
This Charger offense is a fantastic operation to watch. It's just you think they'd score 50 points a game the way they move the ball. Fantastic. 1st and goal now for the Chargers. 3-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. Muncie looking for his 2nd trip to the end zone is cut down at the 1. Muncie runs with the ball. Linebackers come over and got him. Eddie Johnson was on the play, 51.
You must assume now 2nd down and goal to go from, looks like inside the 1-yard line, Don, that they'll probably give the ball to the backs once again. Capoletti's a big, strong running back also. He's good in short yardage situations like this.
He's especially good, too, at blasting somebody ahead of Muncie. They're working an open backfield right now. Winslow's an excellent blocker. He's the wing back to the right side there. This time they give the ball to John Capoletti, and he spins and works and tries, but he doesn't get in. But he's about as close as you can get. It's going to bring up 3rd down and goal from less than a foot away. Defense keying on Muncie, and the ball went to Capoletti.
Yes, but it looked like that he was going to be stopped for about a 3-yard loss. Right here, he is hit. Clarence Scott, number 22, has a hand on him, maintains his balance, comes up, and is tackled before he gets into the end zone. Number 51, Eddie Johnson, prevented the score.
3rd and goal goal for the Chargers. They lead at 7-0. Muncy, touchdown San Diego. And with 3:43 left to play in the first quarter, the Chargers come out quickly and put up 2 touchdowns to take a 13-0 lead. So the problems of Sam Rutigliano and his Browns are compounded, falling behind a high-scoring team early in the game, and Cleveland now forced to throw the ball.
Well, Sam's game plan was very good. First of all, he said we cannot give up the football by fumbles or interceptions. Secondly, we've got to move the ball on offense to keep the ball away from the San Diego Chargers. And so far, the Browns have thrown an interception, and they've yet to pick up a first down.
Browns need the big play. If they get that, get the end zone, they'll be right back in the game. But so far, as Len pointed out, they've not had a first down. Here's Benerski with the point after attempt that's up and good. 3:43 left to play in the first quarter, and the San Diego Chargers extend their lead to 14-0 over the Cleveland Browns as we watch Mr. Muncy spin and take it in again. 2 trips and 2 TDs. Who tied a National Football League record rushing for 19 scores last season. Only others to do that are Earl Campbell and Jim Taylor of the Packers. Goes in twice today. Muncy has now scored 5 rushing touchdowns in this shortened season. This is just the 5th week. The kickoff by Benerska is a squibber downfield, picked up by an upback. Running high with the ball is Dave Green, who's come down here from Canada, where he was the most valuable player in the league at the Montreal Alouettes one season. Muncy being attended to after putting up the first 2 touchdowns of this game. Apparently might have lacerated his forehead.
Either that or his nose.
Yeah, it looks like the nose are going to butterfly it.
I don't think Chuck's nose goes in that direction ordinarily.
You figure might be taking a right turn.
Pretty good field position for the Cleveland Browns. 3:35 in the quarter. They need to get something going.
Browns needing the big play. Let's see if Seidman, the Cleveland offense, can deliver as they go right up. 1st and 10. He's got time. There's a perfect strike to Dave Logan. And the Browns take it ahead for a gain of 18 yards and a first down to the 44-yard line of San Diego.
Well, the first completion, you can see the reaction of the fans here in Cleveland, wanting to get something going. That time, Brian Sipe had plenty of time to get rid of the football. He had opportunity to look the entire defense over, and he found Logan open over the middle and got him the football. There was some concern about Brian's arm, whether it was bothering him or not. That last throw did not indicate that his arm is bothering.
That was a good one. Perfect strike to Logan, who hasn't gotten the ball much. That was only the 6th time he's received it this season. 1st and 10. Here's Pruitt on a draw, and the big back busts it. Mike Pruitt crashes down inside the 30 and down to the 29-yard line. We're pointing out if Cleveland can take it in here, they're going to be right back in this game.
Well, they need to. You were talking about Cleveland being a big play team. This is one of the big plays. A draw up the middle. To Mike Pruitt, the fine running back out of Purdue University. And you can see that number 74, big Louis Kelcher, was chasing him. And Louis seems to have put on a few pounds since last year. Excellent field position on the 30-yard line for the Cleveland Browns.
It is that 1st and 10 for Cleveland. Sipe drops. He's got time again, and there's a man open. He goes, delivers the ball to his fullback. Mike Pruitt takes the ball down to the 25-yard line, a gain of about 5 yards. So while the Browns huddle up, 2nd and 5, let's go back to New York.
Thank you, Don Criqui. This is Mike Adamle in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are on a roll after losing a week ago to the Steelers 16-0. Terry Bradshaw uncorks his 75-yard touchdown pass to John Stallworth, and now the Steelers lead 14-0.
So Bradshaw back in good form, and so is San Diego on the scoreboard. But right now, Cleveland is driving, trailing 14-0 with 1:38 to play in the first quarter. 2nd and 5. Here comes Cleo Miller. And San Diego defense is right there. Woodrow Lowe, the great one out of Alabama. 51 came across. Also on the play was the middle backer, Cliff Thrift.
Man, they really helped on that play. Didn't get the tackle of 76, Keith Ferguson, defensive end, who was stringing it out. Made Cleo go all the way to the sidelines where the linebackers would come and make the stop.
Ferguson's played well then at right defensive end out of Ohio State, number 76. Now the Browns come up with a 3rd down and almost 8. 3rd and a long 7. So here's a big play for Cleveland to keep the drive going if they can. Four-man rush. We'll see if they blitz. Woodrow Lowe's looking suspicious. No. That takes a look. Has to hurry. Leroy Jones at him. He's working hard at it. There's a great block. He's looking. Now he decides to run. Brian Sipe goes down to the 30. A lot of east and west, but not much north and south. And so consequently, the Cleveland Browns only get back to the line of scrimmage, actually lost a couple yards.
One of the problems that he had when he was scrambling coming back to the left, that he is a right-handed quarterback, it was difficult for him to plant his right foot and get rid of that football. He was looking downfield, and the receivers apparently were not open.
Big Leroy Jones was on. That is credited to the San Diego defense as a quarterback sack. It's only their 6th of this season because Sipe, on a passing play, was knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. 46-yard attempt now by Matt Barr. He's got it over the bar. Not by much, but it counts as if it went over the top. So the Browns do get on the board with 45 seconds to play in the first quarter. They're off the schneid, trailing 14-3. And we'll be back with Cleveland's kickoff to San Diego right after this. Controversy between the quarterbacks here at Cleveland as far as they're concerned. McDonald and Sipe working closely together on the sideline. Brian Sipe with some sharp passing takes the Browns down, but they could not convert a third down. Did hit, though, on the foot of Matt Barr, a 46-yard field goal. 14-3. This is how it looks when you're a receiver downfield like James Brooks. And there is Mr. Auburn taking the ball back for San Diego. Good hit. Coming down again was Curtis Weathers on special teams for Cleveland, and the Charger offense with 36 seconds to play in the first quarter goes back on offense. 25-yard return.
Here's that play that Brian Sipe was scrambling back there. Number 82 is Ozzie Newsome, the fine tight end. What he's got to do is shake that man. Either go straight back to Brian Sipe or run the other way. If he runs the other way, he takes that defensive man away, and Brian may be able to run with the ball. But he should have made a move. One way or another. Just make a definite and get out of there.
Chargers leading 14-3 at the ball at their 29, first and 10. James Brooks starts into a hole, and then all of a sudden it's filled very quickly. Inside linebacker Tom Cousineau made the stop. They say he has startling lateral speed. Number 1 player picked in the whole NFL draft. You know the history went to Montreal, the Canadian Football League, where he was regarded up there as maybe the best defensive player in the last 10 years in Canada. Consensus All-Pro player and Defensive Player of the Year. Now he comes back to his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, working as an inside backer. And the first quarter comes to an end, and they switch sides as Brian Sipe and his quarterback coach Paul Hackett talk it over. We'll be back to Cleveland right after this. Browns had those Siper natural powers a couple of years ago when he passed for 4,100 yards and 30 touchdowns to lead the NFL in passing on an 11-5 Cleveland team. Browns slid badly last year, though, went to 5-11. As we look at the first quarter numbers, we're ready to open the second quarter at Cleveland Stadium. Don Criqui with Len Dawson. San Diego Chargers behind Dan Foss. 14-0 lead. Both touchdowns coming on short Chuck Muncie runs. First down, the second down throw, and out there and open is Chandler. As he beats Lawrence Johnson badly, taking him downfield and turning out on him. 14-yard gain and a first down. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. First and 10, San Diego at the 47-yard line of the Chargers. James Brooks stopped once, turns the corner, gets ahead for 3 yards. Clinton Burrell, the free safety from LSU, knocked him down, 49.
That play was designed to really go inside, not way outside where it went. Number 80 is Kellen Winslow, regarded as the best tight end in the National Football League. And here he is fighting with Curtis Weathers, the linebacker, who incidentally, as you mentioned, used to be a tight end, came in, played tight end behind Ozzie Newsome. That's a big switch, going from a tight end to a linebacking position.
Big switch. Weathers has made a lot of plays. Cousineau is the leading tackler for the Cleveland Browns. Second down and 7 now. Watts takes a look, lets it go long. Intercepted by the Browns. Tip ball that was picked off by the strong safety Clarence Scott.
Great play by number 29, Hanford Dixon, the cornerback. He really made that play because he batted the ball up in the air, giving an opportunity for his teammate to come up with the interception. Number 22, Clarence Scott. Here it is, taking taking a look at Dan Fouts going back to throw. It is a high throw. You're going to see 29 Hanford Dixon coming up and making the play right there. Knocks it out of the receiver's hands. It bounces up in the air into the hands of Clarence Scott, number 22. The Browns get a break. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a minute.
Cleveland, Ohio, it is 14-3. San Diego Chargers up on the Cleveland Browns, but Dan Fouts' 5th interception of the season gives Retigliano's Browns possession of the ball. First and 10 at their 28-yard line. Ryan Sipe with 3 wideouts deployed, and now he takes a look down the middle and goes and completes it to Dave Logan, who's ahead for another 18-yard gain. Logan hadn't been getting the ball in the previous 4 games. He's got 2 big receptions today.
Let me tell you, that was a great catch by Logan because there were 2 defensive men surrounding him. One was a linebacker, 51 Woodrow Lowe. The other was Tim Fox, the free safety. And Sipe had to really pinpoint that pass to get it in there.
One shortcoming on the Charger team is the pass rush. Fred Dean went to San Francisco. They've not got the big quarterback sack production. Logan with 2 receptions, good for 36 yards. Charles White runs very hard. Charles White takes the ball down to the 41-yard line of San Diego as he rips off a 15-yard run from scrimmage on his first carry.
One of the things that they felt they could do was run wide. As you take a look at Tom Bass, the new defensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers, the Browns felt that because Louis Kelcher is so big and their defensive line is so big that they can't run inside, so they've got to try to run outside. That time they did with Charles White and picked up another first down.
First down and 10 for Cleveland, 40-yard line of San Diego. A lot of offensive sets for the Browns in this game. They're giving that Charger defense a lot to contend with and to look at. Pruitt tries a power run up the middle, and he's knocked down at the 38-yard line. The scores are coming in on this 5th week of play. Ryan Sipe has the Browns moving right now. Minnesota on a Tommy Kramer touchdown run of 18 yards has gone in front of the Dolphins 7-6 in Miami in the 2nd quarter. The Giants on a Joe Donello field goal 26 yards out lead the Houston Oilers 3-0 in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. St. Louis is on the board with 10 points. Philadelphia just scored in a Wilbert Montgomery run. Green Bay continues to lead Buffalo 6-0. First quarter scored Milwaukee. 2nd down and 8 now as Sipe eludes the rush, swings it out. Pruitt gets the ball. On a 2nd and 8 play, he got ahead for 4 yards, down inside the 35-yard line. Mike Pruitt gets ahead. Dave Lewis knocked him down. New Orleans, a hot team behind Kenny Stabler. He just threw to Andre Thompson for 14 yards and a touchdown. New Orleans leading Tampa Bay 7-0. Chicago opening up a 14-0 lead as Jim McMahon, the rookie, has thrown for 2 touchdowns, one to Ken Marjoram, the other to Emery Moorhead. And Pittsburgh, as Mike Adamley was pointing out, with all those Bradshaw touchdown throws, leading the Kansas City Chiefs 21-0. Big down for the Browns now. 3rd down and a long 3, almost 4. Markers are down. And we'll see what the call is. If the Chargers left early, the Browns will be beneficiaries of 5-yard assessment that would get them a first down. We'll see if the Chargers were drawn off by motion.
That was a hesitation cadence by Brian Sipe. I'm sure he was trying to pull them off sides, and he did. You can see that he hesitated. He changed his cadence. San Diego is listening to him, which you should never do. A defensive lineman should be looking at that football. And there you can see it. 79, it looks like Gary Johnson jumped off sides.
So the Browns convert a 3rd down an easy way. Never had put the ball in play as we had an offside against San Diego.
Offside, number 79, defense.
Coach Tom Bass, who has greatly improved the Charger defense since he came in from Tampa Bay. A lot of new people in that defense, too. Right now, Cleveland has it 1st and 10, 29-yard line of San Diego. Mike Pruitt running hard, gets down to the 25-yard line. Interesting, Lenny, that rain that was forecast was falling hard before the game, but it's been dry now since the outset.
Yes, it has, but it's all around the area here, and there was a possibility. I know that the meteorologists were saying prior to the ball game it could be up to 2.5 inches of rain dropping on the field. Big Louis Kelcher's going out. Louis, he is large.
The big Mustang from SMU in Beaumont, Texas. Now it's 2nd down and 7 for Cleveland. Charles White runs with the ball. Down to the 20. He's going to be very close to a first down. Maybe just short of it. It'll depend where they spot the ball.
Good block by the center, the Cleveland Browns, number 54, Tom DeLeon. He was out on that screen play. Got a block, enabled Charles White at least to get moving upfield. Here it is. Sipe looking, throws it out in the flat to Charles White. See the block right there. The man is falling down for San Diego Chargers. That was a block by the center, Tom DeLeon.
Tigliano says as far as Charles White's concerned, they can't give him the ball enough. He can take a beating and keep on chugging. But in the Cleveland offense, he's a specialty player. He does get some runs from scrimmage, as we saw earlier. Now they go to Pruitt, though. He's the primary runner, and on third down and a foot, he crashes inside the 20 and gets a Cleveland first down.
And that time he went over to the right side of the Cleveland Browns. That's over Joe DeLamielleure, who's been a Pro Bowler many, many times. An outstanding offensive guard for the Cleveland Browns.
So after an early mistake resulted in a San Diego touchdown subsequently when they took an interception and marched in, all of a sudden the momentum has switched to the Cleveland Browns offenses. They're moving the ball to San Diego now. Cleveland trailing 14-3 but threatening.
This is a situation where San Diego may decide to blitz.
2nd and 10 for the run. Charles White working, and a penalty marker comes in from off the play. Charles White did his best to get ahead for 2 yards, but here's going to penalty call, and apparently it's going to be against Cleveland.
When do you see the flag coming from that far back? It's generally on the offense. Yes, it is. Holding on the Cleveland Browns, which did not come at a very opportune time.
San Ratigliano waited a long time for his head coaching debut. 11 years as an assistant, only the 5th head coach in Browns history. And he said this is a turning game in our season, because if we come out of this 2-3 heading into games with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh the next couple of weeks, could be a difficult season. If we win, though, we'll have a head of steam.
I believe he said number 82, Ozzie Newsome, holding on the play.
So now the Browns are taken back outside the 25-yard line to the 27 of San Diego. It's going to be first down and 20. 4-man rush. Chargers been playing pass defense with their linebackers. Up the middle, they go to a draw, and Pruitt hit from behind is knocked ahead to the 21-yard line. Got a hit for about 6 yards.
He got hit by Leroy Jones, and the reason it was is because Leroy Jones, the defensive end, and Wilbur Young, the defensive tackle, had a stunt going where Leroy is going to the inside, and he just lucked out on it, really. Here it is to the inside. He would ordinarily be going to the outside, trying to fed off the offensive tackle, but they guessed right on that play and came up with a tackle. Very short game.
Second down now, and 14 to go for the first down for Cleveland. Back to the run, back to Pruitt. Gary Johnson does a good job. The right tackle staying at home, holding on. The gain is down inside the 20 to about, let's see, they'll spot it at about the 17 or 18-yard line and bring up 3rd and long, 3rd and 11 for Cleveland.
I'm sure that time Brian wanted to catch him anticipating going back to throw, and he had a trap play called on that particular play. Gary Big Hand Johnson's got his big hands on the running back and brought him down. Looking now at a situation where it's 3rd and 11. Undoubtedly he'll go up top and throw the football, but he can't afford an interception down here. He has to come away with an opportunity to get 3 points.
Sets up in the shotgun with people wide either side. Here's a blitz. He throws, and man is out there going for the ball, and it's tipped away from Ozzie Newsome. Brian Sipe doing a great job against the blitz. It was the coming of the person of free safety Tim Fox, another Buckeye from Ohio State, and the ball just too long for Ozzie Newsome.
82 Ozzie Newsome, and on him is Bruce Baird, number 30. He does have a step. Had the ball been thrown just a little further, he would have had an opportunity to catch it. But give Bruce Laird a great play on that one, getting his hand up and knocking it away from Ozzie Newsome, but Ozzie did have a step on the defensive line.
That Laird did indeed tip the ball. Mike Wiseman, our producer today, Ted Nathanson, our director, and the field goal attempt by Barr this time is no good, and so the Browns go a long way to come up with no points. 7:38 left to play in the first half, and the Chargers take over the ball with that 14-3 lead.
Here it is, taking a look at the kick. The ball is going up. It is wide, no good. And now it's going to be San Diego taking over. We'll be back in a minute.
Glenn Dawson, this is Don Criqui back at Cleveland Stadium in Ohio. With 7:38 left to play in the first half. Brian Sipe took the Cleveland Browns downfield, got into field goal range, and then Matt Barr couldn't get it through. And the Chargers with a 14-3 lead take over the ball.
Well, at least for the Cleveland Browns, they moved the football offensively, and if San Diego's going to score, they got to go 80 yards to do it.
7:38 to play in the first half. Bounces a guy, get him there in a hurry. Swings it out to Muncy. He's got 2 touchdowns already today. Muncy is hit, breaks away. It's some 235 pounds of power out of Caleb Berkeley. Third player picked in the draft, 76.
They had defensive men out there. Chip Banks was out there, number 56, and he's a big man too, about 235 pounds, and he tries to get an arm on him, and you're not going to do it. You see right now, 56, an arm on him? No, that is not going to bring Chuck Muncy down. Dick Ambrose, 52, looks like he got a good shot. Number 22, Clarence Scott, but you can take a look. It took 4 men to bring Chuck Muncy down.
They did it 8 yards downfield, so it's 2nd and 2, and Muncy gets the call again. Muncy, a remarkable athlete at 235 pounds. He can bust open a defense, then displays startling speed to break away. Last year he rushed for over 1,100 yards and caught 43 passes. Scored those 19 rushing touchdowns to tie a National Football League record. The Browns on defense. Curtis Weathers, 55, has been an important player on the outside in the absence of Clay Matthews. Clock running with 6:58 to play, first half. Chandler, who made a great play earlier to set up Muncy's second touchdown run, cutting in front of the defense to receive the ball, is out in the left flank. They're looking at Chandler again, faking to him, and now the rush is on, and here's a throw, and Muncy's open. Chuck Muncy is downfield, and there's the speed of Chuck Muncy, taking the ball all the way down to the 30-yard line of Cleveland. That one we have to see again, although Muncy has a problem.
Bounce was in trouble, and he pumped one side. Number 56 is Chip Banks going out in the flat. He's looking to see what's going on. He sees Muncy. He slips, as you can see. The field is slippery. Muncy maintains his balance, though, picks up the ball and gets down to about the 30-yard line. And you're talking about the Cleveland Browns being a big play team. San Diego is also a big play team.
Are they? Biggest ever. Muncy is down, though. That was a 39-yard pass and run play for the Chargers. So he is walking right now on a game left leg, trying to walk it off. Right now, we'll take a break here at Cleveland Stadium with 6:38 to play in the first half. And Muncy and his 2 touchdown runs have the Chargers still in the lead, 14-3. Be back right after this. See, walking off, now starting to jog.
The play, Cousineau comes on top along with Johnson, but you'll see that Chuck Muncy is grabbing his knee right there, and you can see in your picture also he's up moving around. Hopefully he's all right. Looks like he is.
Saw Don Coryell at the hotel last night. He said, I really have a feeling Muncy's ready to play well. He's got some feeling before games, and Muncy's been a big factor in this one so far. As on a first down run, James Brooks, who's about 55 pounds lighter than Muncy, but even faster, takes it down for a gain of 9 yards. And we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
KCST-TV, San Diego.
Brian Sipe has known some cold days here in Cleveland. Sipe, a native of San Diego, California, and a product of San Diego State, where he was coached by Don Coryell, who says Fouts and Sipe are a lot alike. They're both very, very smart. John Cappelletti runs the ball. He's the fullback now in the absence of Chuck Muncy. Bob Golick, the nose tackle, made the stop. As a Cleveland Brown is attended to, Ozzie Newsome was shaken up. I know that's Mike Robinson.
92, Mike Robinson is out. Keith Baldwin, number 2 draft choice, is in his place in the defensive right end position for the Cleveland Browns. Clock is running down, 5:47 and counting down in this first half.
St. Louis now leading Philadelphia 13-7. First and 10. Here's a quick throw. It's to Kellen Winslow as he makes his presence felt for the first time in the game. That's his first reception. It won't be his last if the offense goes as it normally does. This was the leading receiver in all of professional football the last 2 seasons. Caught 89 passes in 1980. Caught 88 last year. A man who they say redefined the tight end position. The greatest offensive threat in football, according to his quarterback, Dan Fouts. San Diego's got a whole array of weapons offensively. Right now they're deployed with a 2nd and 3 play. Pulling guards got in front of James Brooks, and the Brown defense plays well. Chip Banks, the rookie linebacker, 56, broke through the interference to make the knockdown as the clock runs with 4:50 to play in the first half. Banks is big, 6'4", 230, and he can run with the fastest players on the field. It's an impressive combination on the left side. Banks on the outside, the inside back of the Cousineau.
One problem trying to go wide down in that end of the field, from the 20-yard line in, and that end of the field, it's very soggy and it can be very slippery.
Chuck Muncie, we're told, will be back in the game. Like a twist to the ankle, and here's an in pattern to Charlie Joyner, and on 3rd down and 5, the Chargers get another big throw and connection to Charlie Joyner, the 14-year veteran from Grambling.
That was just a quick slant pass. He was looking at Kellen Winslow, his tight end, and also Charlie Joyner to the outside. Whichever direction the linebacker went, he went to the other man. That time he went to Charlie Joyner, picking up a 1st down. 1st and goal right now.
He's had a career against the Browns, averaging 31 yards a catch. Joyner's amazing, 35 years old. He's averaged over 70 receptions a season for the last 3 years. James Brooks tries the middle of the Brown defense and takes the ball on 1st and goal down to the 4-yard line, where Banks and Cousineau knock him down. But again, the Chargers are knocking with 3.5 minutes to play in the half. San Diego now, after losing its offensive momentum, now has a chance to go out in front 21-3 if they can take it in here.
That last play, they had 2 tight ends in the ball game. They still have 2 tight ends in the ball game. Charlie Joyner going out, John Cappelletti coming in.
Zigliano says you can't argue against the fact that San Diego has the NFL's best offense, and what makes them excellent, and particularly is Muncie, who's not in now, but James Brooks isn't. He's down to the goal line. No hands up. But it's going to be point-blank range on 3rd down if they rule it down. Fouts is over there looking for a signal.
They're not. That time they had 3 tight ends in the ball game.
And again, the nose of the ball is right at the goal line.
Here it is on a quick count, getting off. Brooks cutting back to the inside against the grain. He is hit. See the ball popping up right now. It is a fumble. He was not down. San Diego coming on the ball and recovering it. They're going to give it to them on the, what is it, about the 1-inch or 2-inch line.
That's about right. Nose of the ball almost there as Coach Dave Levy, the offensive line coach of San Diego, talking on the headset, getting set to watch his boys powered open, and there goes Brooks in, standing up. And the Chargers open up a 20-3 lead.
Made it look very easy. Brooks going into the end zone, but John Cappelletti, the other running back, was leading interference for him. He got out in front of the defensive mid, making sure they did get a penetration. It was an easy touchdown for the San Diego Chargers. Here you are, taking a look. Winslow in motion, just a pitch out. Number 25, John Cappelletti, coming around with a block. That's all he needed to waltz into the end zone for a touchdown.
So that drive, Lenny, that Cleveland took down the field, playing so well and getting in field goal range, only to come away at no points, seemed to be a downer for the Browns as the Chargers went right the other way, took it the distance, and now Vinerski looking to put up the 21st point, which he does. And all the Chargers and the people in the organization send their best to Warren Jones of San Diego, executive assistant to team owner Gene Klein, who's recovering and very nicely. We'll be back at Cleveland right after this. San Diego, Fouts grew up in San Francisco. Ryan Sutton, product of San Diego high school football. Paul McDonald standing on the left with the helmet off, number 16. He could be seen in the second half, although Sutton generally moved the Browns well. They've just been able to take it into the end zone. Vinerski ready to kick off. He hits a high spinner, not very deep. Dino Hall takes it on the run. He's to the 20. 25. Head down to the 30. And there the Browns going offense 1st and 10 with 2:22 left to play in the first half.
Still plenty of time. 2:22 left, as you said, Don, and there's plenty of time for Sipe to get him down, if not a touchdown, at least in an opportunity to kick a field goal. And they need something. They need something going into halftime to get that confidence back, because the Browns are not playing very well defensively. I mean, it just looks like that San Diego is able to move the ball whenever they feel like it.
Well, the Muncie 39-yard gainer when Banks slipped on a wet field was a big impetus in the San Diego drive that ultimately resulted in the third touchdown of the game for the Chargers. 21-3, they lead it. Sipe takes a drop, swings it out. Pruitt, his fullback, has the ball with Delamolier out in front. DeLeon, the center, was out there. Mike Williams comes up and fills very nicely. Glenn, your career ultimately, as we all know, peaked with the great Super Bowl triumph over Minnesota. But you, in your early days in the National Football League, sat on the bench at Pittsburgh when you first started out, sat on the bench here at Cleveland. There's virtually nobody other than Namath, the only I can think of, that plays right away and well.
Well, you were asking, what's the weather like up here? Is it unusual? I sat on the bench up here in December. Most of the time it was very, very cold.
Usually wind is a big factor, so San Diego got a break from the weather standpoint. Let's see if there's a penalty marker. There is.
Yes.
Newsom was hit hard by Dave Lewis from behind before the ball got in. So the Browns are beneficiaries of that call, and they'll get a first down at the point of infraction. Pass interference, 8 yards downfield.
Well, the Chiefs got on the board finally, 21-7 in the second quarter. Billy Jackson, a 1-yard run.
They sure look like they're still on strike. They were a good-looking team early in the
Defensive
year.
pass interference, number 59, first down.
Yeah, you mentioned the Chiefs, particularly defensively. They were a solid club defensively, but since they've come back from the strike, they haven't been able to stop anybody.
First and 10 now for Cleveland with 2:10 to play in the first half. At the 40. Sipe lets it go long, and it's going to be interception. Tim Fox, the center fielder, takes it back across the 50-yard line, back inside the 40. And this native Ohioan takes the ball down. He's going to be personally fouled after the play, so there's going to be some more yards tacked down, it looks like.
I'll tell you on that play, Sipe was hit by number 76, Keith Ferguson, just as he released the ball, and when he released the ball, it just took off on him, and the only one that had any opportunity whatsoever to catch it was 48 Tim Fox. There is a flag down on the play.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 48 on San Diego. First and 25.
So it goes against the Chargers, but they do get the ball as Tim Fox from Canton, Ohio. And Ohio State makes the play for San Diego. We'll be back to Cleveland Stadium right after this.
Is the only one that has a chance to make the interception. He does that and brings it on back, and I think maybe Tim wanted to be a quarterback at one time when he was at Canton McKinley High School in Canton, because after he gets tackled on the sideline, he wants to throw the ball, and it cost him 15 yards.
So the ball is set back to the 48-yard line, as you were pointing out early in the show, Lynn Dawson. Tigliano, the coach of the Browns, said Ryan Sipe has to throw strikes, or we'll have to go to the bullpen in this short season. We could see Paul McDonald in the second half. Maybe not. At other times, Sipe has moved his team very well. Fouts stands and throws, and catching the ball out of the backfield is James Brooks. And he's down to the 42-yard line, so got back the lost yardage on the penalty. On first and 10, he got ahead for 12 yards and a first down.
And he got out of bounds. Here is Paul McDonald, number 16, the young quarterback out of USC. They're very high on him. They think that he's definitely going to be an outstanding quarterback. But Ryan Sipe has proven that he has been an outstanding quarterback. And I question really whether Brian's arm is all right. I know he says his arm is okay, but there's a possibility his arm isn't as strong as he would indicate.
Nothing wrong with Fouts' arm, and it's on the fly again. Downfield, Wes Chandler goes up like an acrobat and catches the ball on cornerback Lawrence Johnson. With 1:44 left to play in the first half, the Chargers might be in the end zone again before the half.
You cannot give those receivers too much room, and that's what's happening. Chandler has such great quickness and speed that those cornerbacks, when they're playing him man-to-man, they're going to give him a lot of room in front. They don't want him beating him deep. That time he made a good move, looking like he was going downfield, cut it toward the sideline, and Dan Fouts made an excellent throw. Chandler is an outstanding athlete, really an outstanding athlete.
Phenomenal athlete. Track man at the University of Florida. First and 10, Fouts taking a look, and there's another man turning out. Again, they go to work on Lawrence Johnson. They want to put the ball up against 48. They're doing it with great success.
Well, what you do is continue to work if things are successful. Don't change for the sake of changing. 48 Lawrence Johnson, the cornerback for the Cleveland Browns, is giving the receivers a lot of room over there. Now it's going to change right now because there isn't that much room. They're on the 10-yard line, and he's got the end zone to help him. When you give a receiver a lot of room, throw in front of him. Then when he comes up, throw behind him.
Eric Coryell putting up some big numbers. Chargers threaten again. This time they go to the run, and James Brooks takes it down, and he is in for a touchdown. So it's still Dan Fouts and the first half numbers. They break down just like the scoreboard. The Chargers dominant.
Well, they sure are. 186 yards passing for Dan Fouts. 13 of 16. One turnover in that. And Fouts was victimized when the ball popped up in the air. Headed for his offensive receiver. And good defensive play by the cornerback of the Cleveland Browns. Hanford Dixon in the first half that gave the Browns an opportunity to turn the ball over. Brian Sipe, number 17, headgear on. He will undoubtedly start. Paul McDonald, number 16, is also loosening up. Sam Bertigliano told me that, this is his man. Brian Sipe is the number one quarterback, particularly he's had the experience in playing the teams that they're going to have to play down the stretch. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh twice. Teams in their division that he has played and defeated in the past.
There's the heir apparent, Paul McDonald. He's a winner, too. The record shows that. In fact, as a collegiate player, he had the lowest career interception rate of any player in NCAA history. He knows where he's throwing it.
He seems like too nice a young man. He really is. And he understands the situation.
Well, like he said, McDonald, I thought it was a rather admirable thing to say at the time when everybody's calling for Sipe to be replaced. He said, I appreciate Coach Bertigliano staying with Brian Sipe. I'd want to be treated the same way if I won as many games for a franchise as Brian Sipe has.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Lenerska kicks off for the Chargers. A high spinning kick. Dwight Walker, the rookie's going to take it to the 6-yard line. He's to the 10. He is to the 20. A penalty marker goes down, and the ball comes out to the 26-yard line, but it probably will all come back on a foul against the blockers for Cleveland.
Well, number 37, Hank Bauer, is pointing a finger over there. The flag has been thrown, and generally that's an indication. Here it is, 37, a great special teams player, Hank Bauer, 37, a halfback. He goes after the ball carrier. But he says, I don't have the ball. He's a halfback, but he's on the other side.
Hank a little thin on top from all that button into the end zone he's done.
Holding, number 53 on the return. First down.
Here it is, and we were just showing you number 53 of the Cleveland Browns is Bill Cowher, a linebacker. Putting the Browns in a hole.
The Browns in a hole on the scoreboard and on the playing field as they come out first and 10. Sipe swings it out, and he goes right to his tight end, Ozzie Newsome, who's ahead for good yards, close to a first down. The rule now that he stepped out of bounds inside the 20, so he's going to be about 3 yards short of the first down. They got 7. Newsome has now caught 3 passes for 48 yards for Cleveland. They're the pass catchers for Sipe and the Cleveland Browns, Logan, Feature, and Newsome. Offensive line has protected Sipe quite well, particularly in the long drives that came up dry when they could not get points. The crowd low at Cleveland. In 1980, when they had that great team, they led the NFL with over 80,000 a game. And last year with a 5-11 team, the Browns had 72,000 average attendance. Now the swing pass. And it goes out this time to Ricky Feature. He's ahead for a first down. Brown followers think there might have been a late hit. Jeff Allen, the cornerback, number 27, made the stop. Laird and Fox are the safeties. Allen and Williams are the corners. Lyndon King, Cliff Thrift, and Woodrow Lowe backing the line. And the secondary, Fox with some big plays in the first half. Defensive front has Big Hands Johnson and one tackle Ferguson the right end. Leroy Jones, the down lineman, ready to tee off and go. First and 10, the Browns have to throw, but this time they're going to go to the run on the draw play. Pruitt crashes ahead. Look at him sprint. This is a 225-pound back who is legitimately clocked in 4.4 on the 40-yard dash. And that immediately propelled him to the top of the NFL draft list when he came out of Purdue.
I think you're going to see the great ability of Mike Pruitt. He's going to slip right here. Now he's going to have to change directions. He slips, maintains his balance, sees the opening, which is the sign of a great runner, that he's running with his head up and he sees where the opening is. He finds that opening and picks up the first down.
17-yard run as Mike Pruitt having a big day, and the Browns get the ball out to their 44-yard line. First and 10. Charles White in the backfield now along with Pruitt. Screen. Blockers are out in front. Pruitt comes up, and a hard hit made by Lyndon King, or Pruitt would have gone a long way. Keith Ferguson also on the stop along with Lyndon King, the outside linebacker. There was a gain on the play. Oh, a pickup of 3 and 2nd down and 7.
Don, that looked like that play was going to be a big one because they had 3 offensive linemen out in front of the ball carrier, but they failed to make the blocks downfield. And this man, 57, Lyndon King, did make a fine play coming up with the stop. Well, if he didn't make the stop, it was really going to be a big play.
2nd and 7 as Sipe has 3 wide receivers out. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Too high. Ooh, he's looking over the middle at Dave Logan, who can go up in the air. He was a basketball player of pro caliber quality at Colorado. Too high and very nearly.
That ball got away from him because that just sailed right over Logan's head. He may have been a basketball player, but he can't jump 9 feet.
And again, in that zone defense, the San Diego secondary men were looming very close to the football. They've picked off 2 already.
Another big 3rd down situation for the Cleveland Browns. 3rd and 6.
Logan goes way wide to the left. Laird, the strong safety, comes right up tight on tight end Ozzie Newsome at the top of your screen. He looks, he's got a man, and Ozzie Newsome is down to the 34-yard line. The big play for Cleveland on 3rd down results in a 1st down, a 17-yard gain.
Well, the offensive line provided Brian with a lot of time to go back and survey the secondary. You take a look at the offensive line, Gary Johnson, number 79, he's over there with 54 as the center. De Leon, Robert Jackson, and Lamalier over there, as you can see, number 73. Is Deacon also. And here it is, a throw. This is an outstanding throw and a great catch because actually good coverage on Ozzie Newsome. Number 30, Bruce Laird, the strong safety, was right there with him.
1st and 10. Pruitt gets the call, and San Diego's defense gets tough and doesn't give much. The linebacker, Cliff Thrift, number 59, was the first man in on the play. Wilbur Young, number 99, also on the stop. 12 minutes and 5 seconds to play at Cleveland Stadium on the shores of Lake Erie. The home of the great Brown teams of years past. 4 times the Browns have won the National Football League championship, including the first year they were in the league in 1950. They beat the Rams in an overtime game. Cleo Miller comes into the backfield. Logan goes in motion. 2nd down and a long 8. There's a strike. Charles White has the ball. Charles White works his way ahead. Looks like he has another 1st down for Cleveland. 8-yard gain.
What's going on is that Brian is looking downfield. He's looking at the zone. That's what San Diego is playing. They're playing a zone defense. 59, Thrift is middle linebacker. He's going back into a zone, reading the quarterback. When the quarterback gets rid of the ball, his job is to come up and make the tackle. And he did, along with the help of number 51, which is Woodrow Lowe. But wasn't exactly a 1st down. It's 3rd and 1. So looking at Cleveland, Don, I would assume they have 2 shots to run the ball to pick up the 1st down.
Charles did some crawling, some scratching to get ahead, but they moved it back to the 25. 3rd and foot. Pruitt very nearly left early in the backfield. He gets ahead. It's a 1st down for Cleveland with 10:50 to play in the 3rd quarter. 10th play of the drive coming up.
All right, here you are. Taking a look at number 83, Ricky Feature. His job is not only to catch the ball, but he's got to block sometimes, too. He's putting a block on Bruce Laird, and fortunately, his head was not in that helmet when it flew off of there.
Ricky lost his head. But ready to go again as a wide out to the left. 1st and 10, Cleveland. San Diego defense, Lenny, gives you a lot of room there. They're back in that zone.
And they've got to take that. Cleveland has to take that. He was looking downfield. That was not a screen pass. Mike Pruitt was just an outlet. Ryan Sipe was looking downfield. If there's no one there, get the ball out to this man. He's the best running back on Cleveland's team. He's averaged over 1,000 yards the last couple of years, rushing with the football. Let somebody make an open field tackle on him down there. That's what San Diego will do with Muncie. That big back out there. One-on-one on the defensive backs.
2nd down and 6 coming up for Cleveland. At the 20-yard line is Sipe. Takes his drop, sets it, surveys, Newsom's down to the 9-yard line. Another first down for Cleveland. A very impressive drive engineered by Brian Sipe of the Browns.
Ozzie Newsome is something, isn't he? He took a real shot when he made that reception. Sipe going back to throw. Once again, he's looking over that zone defense. Swift is dropping back in the zone. He's reading the quarterback. He's looking right at Sipe. Sipe is looking at him. He fires it to Newsome. He makes the shot on him. Finally, he stayed with him and tripped him up with an ankle. Bringing him down, but they've got a first down inside the 10-yard line.
First and goal for Cleveland as Cleveland Stadium comes alive now. Browns trailing 27-3, but moving to open the third quarter. There's a man open. Newsome loses the ball at the back of the end zone. The third time today a Brown receiver has lost the ball in the end zone. That was a well-defended play, though, and Ozzie would have gone beyond if he coming down with that one.
Well, you know that he can catch the ball under situations like this because we just saw him make a catch. Good protection by that offensive line of the Cleveland Browns. It hits him right in the hands. All he has to do is bring it in.
He was also popped by Laird.
He's popped, but he's got his hands on the football, and he's looking at it all the way. His hands right there. Laird is coming after him on the play. Does a good job of stripping the ball from him when he didn't have complete control of it.
Eminently catchable, though. Now it's second and goal for Cleveland. Sipe is whistled and it's a sack. The referee right there looking at the quarterback, and as soon as it's deemed that he's in the grasp of the tackler, the whistle blows and play is stopped.
He had a number 91, Rick Ackerman, is going to be credited for that sack. This is unusual. They did not call get a huddle, going back hustling with this play right away. Will now.
Oh, he had everybody moving, but no ball snap.
Yes.
Ball was right in the field. So Coach Vitigliano and the Browns, a tough development there. Browns misfire with 8:21 to play in the third quarter, and again they're assessed penalty yardage, and here is the referee, Pat Haggerty.
Ball starts, number 54, offense.
Center Tom DeLeon. You can't start the play without that center.
That's right. He might have moved the ball and then didn't really snap it to Brian Sipe. An additional defensive back, Willie Buchanan, in the ball game for the San Diego Chargers.
Chargers did not easily forget that cold AFC Championship game at Cincinnati. They brought 2.5 tons worth of warm weather equipment, none of which is needed with temperatures in the 60s. Here's a throw. Logan gets the ball, but he'll be way short of the first down. There is no first down, actually. It's still goal. Browns have been pushed back, you recall, after the reception by Newsome, who was first and goal from the 9. Now the field goal unit comes out. The boos again start up.
Well, I don't know how they could be booing that man, Brian Sipe. He put the ball to Ozzie Newsome in the end zone that should have been caught for a touchdown. He did it before the half ended to Dino Hall. He didn't hold on to it either. You can throw it, but you can't catch it, too.
Matt Barr with a 34-yarder. He's got plenty into it. And he has points for the Cleveland Browns, albeit just 3. It is 27-6. And that does not satisfy the paying customers here in Cleveland. 7:39 left to go in the third quarter. Browns kick it off when we come back. Rain is held off. Threatened all morning. There was a little rain. Here's an onside kick try. And the Browns, now it's ruled he got the ball just short of the 45-yard line. Almost a perfectly executed onside kick.
It might have been if they let it go. If they let it go 10 yards. They had a really excellent shot at coming up with a football. Must let it go 10 yards. He hit it about 8 yards downfield.
They'd have had it. They had nothing but people around the ball, the Browns.
We have a short free kick. Ball will not go 10 yards, a 5-yard penalty, and we kick it in.
I think you're going to get an opportunity to see this. He must let it go 10 yards. Kicking off from the 35-yard line, that would mean the 45. Here it is. There's the 40. Right there, about 8 yards deep. Which means they'll bring it back, and now they'll kick it off from the 30-yard line.
The Chargers are going to be looking for it now.
They'll be looking for it, but now, you know, you take a shot. There's 7:35 remaining. You don't want to give San Diego the ball on the 40-yard line. Only 40 yards to go.
That's 2 plays for San Diego into the end zone.
I think that they'll kick it deep. They had to gamble. They had to take a chance down.
Coach Coryell has been lamenting the position his team is in, but I think we're going to see those Chargers roaring in the playoffs again.
San Diego's lost 2 ball games. They were defeated by Kansas City. They blocked a kick and scored. They didn't let Kansas City score offensively. A touchdown anyway. Here
Cox kicks off and very well. He drives it all the way down to the 2-yard line from his own 30. James Brooks moving upfield. It'll come back. Penalty markers come in. Browns had the ball for almost 7.5 minutes in that opening drive of the third quarter, only to come away with just a field goal. Chip Banks made the tackle on special teams for Cleveland. And now we'll see what Pat Haggerty, a hold against the return team. So the ball will be set back.
That'll put San Diego back in the hole. I was talking about San Diego. They lost 2 games. Kansas City offensively did not score a touchdown. Then they defeated the Chargers. And then, of course, they were ahead of the Raiders 24-0.
Big game down at the Orange Bowl where Miami has come from behind to take a 12-7 lead over Minnesota. Dolphins don't score many touchdowns, but they do find a way to win. And here's Green Bay leading the Bills 20-7 in the third quarter at Milwaukee. New Orleans and Tampa Bay tied up at 10-all. Third quarter score at the Superdome. Right now, Coach Coryell has a timeout on the field with 7:24 left to play. An official timeout. We'll be back right after this. California is in the backfield now as the up back in front of James Brooks as San Diego has the ball first and 10 at their 14-yard line. Bouts, pump fakes, gets it to Joyner. Blockers are there. Charlie Joyner in his wisdom steps out of bounds after a big gainer for a first down. Bouts was down after the play. He was hit after he released the ball. A 15-yard gain on the play. Pump fake by Fouts drew the defense in, then he dumps it off to Joyner for the gainer. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
KCST TV, San Diego.
Chuck Muncie took a rap on the nose early, then one on the leg. He scored the first 2 touchdowns of this game. James Brooks gets a call on first down and 10. James Brooks is ahead across the 30 and out to the 32 or 3-yard line, where outside linebacker Chip Banks knocked him down along with defensive end Marshall Harris.
We had a report just a minute ago on Chuck Muncie that he's all right, that he could play, just give him a little rest.
Muncie already with 5 rushing touchdowns this season. 2 today. 19 last year to tie the all-time league record for running for scores this season. And here goes James Brooks, who has 2 and looking for more. Quentin Burrell knocked him down, but the Chargers move it out from deep in their own end after the penalty on the kickoff and now have it out across to midfield.
Burrell got it. Here's number 50, Tom Cousineau, and he's supposed to have great lateral movement. He does have quickness because he's eventually going to get involved in the play. The sign of a fine football player is that he never gives up. Problem with that is it's a first down for the San Diego Chargers once again. Now they're moving that ball seemingly at will.
Chargers averaged only 97 yards running early in the season, but they're doing a lot better today. And here is Joyner out there, an interception. Lawrence Johnson picks it off, and he's got a lot of blockers, but he cuts back and is knocked down at the 35-yard line. So Johnson, who's been victimized at the left corner with a lot of out patterns and balls being caught on him, comes up with a big interception. The second of Dan Fouts today, and Cleveland gets the ball back.
Dan Fouts was going for it all. He was going up top. He play action pass. He pumped, and he was going deep. But Lawrence Johnson of the Cleveland Browns was the man who was there on the spot. The second interception for the Cleveland Browns. They'll have the ball, and we'll be back in just a moment.
And Dan Fouts, after a second interception, goes to the sidelines as the Browns go back on offense. They had the ball for almost 7.5 minutes the outset of the third quarter, but got only a field goal and trailed 27-6. But they did move it very well. Let's see what they do now with Charles White as the tailback. And Paul McDonald is the quarterback. He lets it go. Or excuse me, Brian Sipe at quarterback, as he has been all game long. Dave Logan was downfield, and Mike Williams was defending against it. And again, Sipe was on the numbers, but couldn't get the connection. Ball knocked away, or actually lost by Dave Logan.
I'll tell you, he put a fake on a defensive line, and the offensive lineman chopped him down. And he had an opportunity to see everything that was going on downfield. Here it is, number 85. And I'm going to tell you something. I've seen the Cleveland Browns play before, and those receivers don't drop passes like that. They've dropped about 4 of them on Brian Sipe today.
Well, Logan's had some great years. Has not gotten the ball much this season. Second down and 10 now for Sipe in the Cleveland offense. To 35. There's a penalty marker down in the backfield, and looks like we're going to have a hold call against the Cleveland Browns. So that will put them in a very difficult position. And indeed, they're in that already with a 27-6 score in favor of San Diego on the board. That's how it stood at the half.
You don't want to see
27-3 at the half. They did get a field goal their last possession in Cleveland.
Brian Sipe is looking at the San Diego defense and their secondary. We'll take a look at the call here.
63. Okay.
Cody Rison was called for holding on that play. The second, you can see how deep they are. They're going to concede things up front. They're not going to let you get anything deep. You can see the safety man, Tim Fox, he must be 25, 30 yards deep. There's no one going to get behind him. You have to throw in front of them. You have to be very patient when you're taking on a team that's going to be dropping back like that.
They make no pretense. They're in a zone defense all the time, and it's a defense that will give up short passes, but not the long ones. And that's what Cleveland needs now with 2nd and 20 coming up. A penalty marker down with the snap. Ball well overthrown. Again, the secondary playing very deep came up and tried to make a play on an interception.
He was throwing that ball for Dave Logan, number 57, the linebacker for the San Diego Chargers. Lyndon King must have been at least 20 yards deep. He was behind Logan, and Logan was downfield about 15 to 20 yards.
Wilbur Young's been working at left tackle for almost the entirety of the game. Louis Kelcher was shaken up early, has not come back in. The Chargers going with it.
Offense declined, 3rd down.
Chargers going with the defensive front of Leroy Jones, Wilbur Young, Gary Johnson, and Keith Ferguson. Scores coming in. St. Louis leading Philadelphia now 23 to 13. Jaworski just threw to Montgomery. Chicago Bears now up 23-13 over the New England Patriots at Soldier Field. Another penalty marker down. Sipe stands in, throws the connection down to Dave Logan across the 40. Brian Sipe bravely waiting for the rush to hit him, then releasing just before it got there. 15-yard gain if it goes, with the markers down at the line of scrimmage. It's against San Diego. A surprise score at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. The Houston Oilers, with Archie Manning just throwing to tight end Dave Casper from 8 yards out, has taken a 14-3 lead over the Giants.
Yes, that is surprising. St. Louis also ahead of Philadelphia.
Earlier, Gifford Nielsen had passed for an Oiler touchdown. Now they've gone to Manning. 5:29 left to play in the 3rd quarter here at Cleveland Stadium. Now they're marching the other way.
Well, they may have. See, they were short of the 1st down, and Fitz, they want the ball again. They want another opportunity to get the 1st down. I'm assuming that's offsides against the Chargers.
So instead of
Offside, number 79, defense, still 3rd down.
now it's 3rd and 15 though, rather than 3rd and 20.
Otherwise, it would have been 4th down if they hadn't accepted the penalty. If it 4th down, they'd have had a punt. At least they got another shot at picking up the 1st down.
Those big Chargers up front have been right down in the dirt. Those uniforms indicate the play in the trenches on a wet field, but the rain has been really non-existent since early in the game, and there was a threat of as many as 2 inches of rain today. Here's a throw, and Logan goes up, comes down with the ball. He'll be short of a 1st down by about 3 or 4 yards. Got the ball out to the 41-yard line of Cleveland.
That's 2 in a row for Dave Logan, catching it 2 times he was short, and 2 times he took a pretty good hit. Taking a look at the secondary, what I'm talking about. Look at the depth that they're getting back there. And what they're doing is just playing center field and hoping that Sipe throws the ball and it's too high. If it's too high, then they got an excellent chance of coming up making the interception. They'll just let Logan make the catch for 13 or 14 yards. Give them that and make them punt on 4th down.
Well, Tom Bass, the defensive coordinator for San Diego, says you must adapt the defense to the people. So here's a fake, and it is oh man, it's going to be so close. I think he might have it.
I was just going to say this may be a time that they would try to fake the punt and go for it. 4:39 remaining in this 3rd quarter, and they're down by 21 points.
Oh, this is going to, if it's there, it's by the nose of the ball. Might not be there. I don't know. We'll have to see. The markers will come out. The up back to block on the punt was the fullback, Mike Pruitt. As you saw, he ripped it ahead on the fake punt. And now, Ozzie Newsome's confident. He says we got it. They do. Or do they?
I don't know. The officials and everybody's in the way. They're all trying to help.
They'll have to get the calipers out. Sam Ratigliano trying to... We got the first down.
It's got to be as close as it possibly can.
That brought a smile to Art Modell's face in the next booth over here, and there hadn't been many today. So the Browns get the first down.
There it is. As you see, it's centered to number 43, Pruitt. You can see that Kuzno is in there. He's pulling to block, looking for a hole. There's a slight hole there. The Chargers do really a fine job of sealing it up. I think maybe they were anticipating the possibility of that. Just by the narrowness of margins, the Browns continue to go offensive.
The head linesman marked the ball, and now here's the throw, and Charles White gets it, and a penalty marker comes in again as White gets ahead for an 8-yard gain. But a penalty marker is thrown in the Cleveland backfield. And the call is against the Browns. The Browns have been misfiring often, and their pass blocking has not been good. A residual effect of the strike, perhaps.
Well, you look at all the drop passes against for a team like the Cleveland Browns. Dino Hall doesn't drop them, and Logan doesn't drop them. Newsome doesn't really ordinarily drop them. It makes you wonder that if that really had, the strike had an effect on that.
73, offense.
Well, Doug Beacon is caught for holding, but they should only get half the distance because he's got a broken hand on his right hand. So instead of 10 yards, I'll just give him 5 because he can only be holding with one hand.
So it's been a misfire drive for the Cleveland Browns. 4 plays and 3 penalties with 4:20 to go in the third quarter. Feature goes wide left, so does Logan. First down and 20. Sight gets it away to Pruitt. And Pruitt gets across the 40. He got back some of the lost yardage on the penalty, 8 yards of it. It's going to bring up second and long, though.
A little pressure on Sipe that time. The last play, number 73, Doug Beacon, who's the offensive captain.
Somebody in the stands here, Lenny, as an official's whistle has been blowing. I thought the play was blown dead.
But you can see that it's very difficult. He grabbed that time also, but he can only grab with his left hand because his right hand is broken. That time, Ryan got rid of the ball just in time, or just before he got sacked.
Second down and 13 for Cleveland. Ball at the Browns' 42-yard line. Sipe sends 4 people long and fires over the middle, and Ozzie Newsome looks at a tip ball and catches it. Newsome got the ball at the 42-yard line of the San Diego Chargers. It was tipped, and Ozzie that time came down with it.
Well, that's the Ozzie Newsome that I'm accustomed to seeing, somebody that comes up with great catches. That time the ball was deflected. Sipe going up top. San Diego's defensive players in an excellent position. You can see the linebacker hops it up in the air.
2 guys.
He is there. Number 82, Ozzie Newsome, coming up with the ball and a first down for the Cleveland Browns.
A 17-yard gain on the play advances the ball to the 41-yard line of San Diego. The overcast skies full of rain, but so far it's held off since early in the first quarter. The field is wet, though, from earlier rain this week. Last week. 7th play of the drive coming up, and it's first and 10 Cleveland. Sipe has time, but he's going to run out of it. Now he gets the ball off to Donald Odom. One of the tight ends, Odom, takes the ball ahead down to the 36-yard line. 4-yard gain. The scoreboard ringing up new numbers around the league. Miami now taking command of Minnesota 19-7 in the fourth quarter. Andre Franklin just ran for a 9-yard touchdown for the Dolphins. Green Bay has extended its lead over Buffalo to a surprising 27-7 as Lynn Dickey just threw to John Thompson for another score. Tampa Bay has come back from a deficit to take the lead over New Orleans 13-10 on a Capiz field goal. And Baltimore continues to lead Cincinnati. That would be the upset of the year if it holds up, but it's got a long way to go.
It's hard to believe that's good.
Second and 6. Here's a throw and a reception, and Ozzie Newsome again is on the receiving end. He's ahead for a Cleveland first down. Browns Browns moving the ball very well in this half. But still, they've not been in the end zone for a touchdown 3 times. They had balls skip off the fingers of receivers in the end zone in this game.
What they're doing is spreading out that defense, and San Diego's defense is conceding the short gains. 1:22 remaining on the clock in the third period. They've got a 21-point lead.
They've had the ball, the Cleveland Browns, virtually the whole third period.
Yes. Except for about 3 plays, I think.
First and 10 now for Cleveland. Handoff goes to Pruitt, and he's knocked down as he hits the 28. Charger defense fills very well.
Yes.
Thrift, the middle backer, 59, was there.
He was not fooled on that play. That was a quick trap play, thinking that the linebackers would be going back once again, getting depth looking for a pass, but Thrift diagnosed that play extremely well. No huddle for the Cleveland Browns. What this does is prevent San Diego from sending in additional defensive plays.
Marker is down as Sipe throws to a wide open Ozzie Newsome. He's down to the 4-yard line. The man that Bear Bryant called the greatest receiver in Alabama history. Ozzie Newsome comes down, but there's a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. 24-yard gain if it goes. And apparently it's against the Chargers, and the play goes, and now the Browns have it. First and goal inside the 5.
Let me bring up something. They did not huddle that last time. It was a second long yardage, and generally what San Diego would have done is send in some players defensively.
Good point.
No huddle, so they can't do that. This is Newsome going right down the seam. An excellent throw by Brian Sipe, right on the money once again, and he makes the reception. You know, early in the first half, I was beginning to wonder why they hadn't gone to Ozzie Newsome. They didn't really go to him. The one pass he threw to him, it was deflected. San Diego intercepted. He did drop a pass in the end zone not too long ago, but here is a great catch. That's why I said maybe the strike has affected this team, because it's a great catch. Look at him. Look at the concentration on his. Goes up, and he's going to hit the ground and maintains possession of the football. So I say that's the type of catches I'm accustomed to Ozzie Newsome making.
Field goal is good, and now it's a 27-13 game, and we've got the whole fourth quarter to be played. There are 23 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Here it is once again. Sipe going back, play action pass, getting it out to Ozzie Newsome, making an outstanding catch into the end zone for a touchdown, getting the Browns back in it. We'll be back in a minute.
Most productive day ever as a receiver for Cleveland. He's had some great days in his 4 years. Ozzie Newsome with 9 receptions for 130 yards, and the first touchdown of the day for the Browns is again, they held the ball for a long time, going 65 yards in 11 plays. We saw an onside kick almost perfectly executed.
I don't believe this time. They're 14 points down. They want to get them back in the hole.
Cox, straightaway kicker, hits it deep. Goes into the end zone, and the Chargers come out first and goal on their 20. And they did well to down the ball because that's a live football in the end zone. San Diego taking time, finally putting the ball down. Wes Chandler was back. So with 14 seconds to play in the third quarter, the Chargers come back out on offense first and 10. San Diego with 2 touchdowns today from Chuck Muncie, who's not played since the second quarter when he went out after a long run after a pass reception. And the other 2 by James Brooks. But in the third quarter, it's all Cleveland. The only points in the third quarter scored by the Browns. They scored 10. Outscored San Diego 10-0 in the third quarter, which will end with this play. Brooks runs the ball across the 25 on a first and 10 play. He got to the 27. So there's a 7-yard gain for San Diego. And that does it for 3 periods of play. At the end of the third quarter, the score is the Chargers 27, the Browns 13. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. The San Diego Chargers get the ball back, but that third quarter, Len Dawson, was all Cleveland Browns. And Sipe did very well.
Well, one thing that Cleveland wanted to do was keep the ball away from the offensive unit of the San Diego Chargers. They were able to do that, but more importantly, they had to keep it away from them and put points on the board. They did that, but San Diego came right back, picking up 7 yards on running play on first down. Their offense is still very much in gear.
Always. That time, the Browns get the linebackers shooting into the gap. Cousineau was in there, and also on the play for the Cleveland Browns was 79 Bob Golick, the middle guard, who was an All-American linebacker at Notre Dame and went to New England as a second-round draft choice. Starting today for the first time in the pros as a middle guard, but really that was the position he played the most in college. He was usually down to 3-point over the center.
You were talking about time. How much time? Look at the time possession after 3 quarters.
For the whole game. Browns had it almost the whole third quarter. Again, Cleveland's defense rises up. On 3rd and 2 yards, the San Diego Chargers don't get there, and they'll have to punt the ball back to Cleveland.
You know, we were talking about the Browns and how defensively they really didn't look too inspired out there in the first half. That's the first time I think that I've seen them in the ball game, the last 2 plays, to really get aggressive, get penetration defensively, and make a good hit. And I'm trying to think, this is the first time that the San Diego Chargers have had to punt the football.
White Walker is back, and there's another rookie, Maury Buford out of Texas Tech, ready to punt the ball for the Chargers. Boy, that's a good punt snap. Drills it back there, and a good punt by Buford. And upfield is White Walker. Penalty marker. Browns get the ball, but they start off in a hole as there'll be a call against the Browns on a clip on the return. A punt of 51 yards and a return of 6, according to NBC statistician Joe Costanza.
Well, if he said so, that's what it is. That was the second punt, wasn't it?
Man has a sharp pencil.
Second punt for San Diego. The problem with the Browns, when you try to go sideways like that, you're taking a chance that there's going to be some illegal use of the hands or a clipping penalty, and that's what happened. The best punt returns are ones when that punt returner gets the ball, breaks straight up the field to get through the first wave, and then can cut one way or the other. But you got to get by that first wave first. Here it is, making the reception. He's going to go sideways now instead of straight up the field, which means that that's going to string out things, giving the opportunity for the Browns to either use illegal use of the hands or a clip hitting below the waist, and that's what happened in that situation. Taking them back inside the 20-yard line. Browns have the ball. We're going to be back right after this timeout.
Saying, where's my offense? Where's my points? We don't have any this half. But they had 27 in the first half and led 27-3. In the third quarter, Cleveland scored 10 unanswered points. It's back in the game to a degree, 27-13 with 13:30 left to play, and the Browns again have the ball. Ryan Sipe taking his time, and he goes to Pruitt. That will be there all the time in front of the linebacker drop. And Pruitt catches the ball out across the 20 on first down. The Browns gain 8. Woody Lowe, who played with Ozzie Newsome at Alabama, made the stop.
Here it is, Mike Pruitt coming out of the backfield. 51 is Woodrow Lowe. Now he's going to go out in front of him, and he loosens up. Woodrow Lowe loosens up on him, so Sipe gets him the football. Sipe was reading him. He also had another receiver in that area. He was reading Woodrow Lowe to see which direction he was going to go, and that determines which man he's going to throw the ball to.
Second down and 2 now for Cleveland. San Diego defense looking for Mike Pruitt all the way, and they got him. Ferguson was there, Keith Ferguson. As the game clock winds down to 12:38 and running in the fourth quarter. And now it's become almost a nice day from a rain standpoint. The clouds have seemed to blown away, and it's still a very mild mid-60 temperature enveloping northern Ohio, which is normally a frigid, ice-packed American city at this point in the year. In December, you'll recall the playoff game of a few years ago in Oakland, and the Browns locked up on that January day.
That was cool.
Chill factor of -40 below that day. Charles White runs the ball and comes across the 20 on 3rd down and 2. He might be short. We'll see if the Browns elect to move it out.
If they're short, I don't know. It depends on how short they are, but I doubt if they'd go for it.
Yeah, they're going to be just short. Clock's running, 11:50. Yep.
They're calling a timeout. They're going to come over to the sidelines and make the decision. You can see hands going up. It's less than a yard to go for a first down.
A lot of times teams, as you're well aware, Lenny, will come out and set up like they're going to go from scrimmage and wait to see the other team jump, and if they don't, they'll just send in the punting team after delay a game.
Well, Well, you can see it right there that it looks like about a foot and a half. Well, the fans are telling you what they would like to see happen.
Well, the fans and Coach Bertigliano are in agreement. The Browns will go for it.
Dave Logan, you notice coming off the field here, just looking at Bertigliano, he is holding his right shoulder. I wonder if there's anything wrong with him.
I think we should also point out, Lenny, if the Browns don't get it here on 4th and a yard, this ball game is gone because San Diego takes over at the 23.
Well, they're 2 touchdowns behind, 11 and a half minutes to go in the game.
Sipe might take it himself.
He's going to throw it. He's got a man open, too.
Newsom gets the ball, but there's a penalty marker down in the San Diego secondary.
He had Ricky Feature coming across the field wide open. I don't know what the play is going to be.
There was yards enough on the first down, though, on the reception for the first down. The call's against San Diego, so the Browns win.
Gutsy call, real gutsy call, I'll tell you that. Play action pass when everybody in the stadium thought that they were going to go for the first down by running it. They had 2 tight ends in blocking, and everybody's blocking, including one of the tight ends. You can see that Mike Pruitt is back there. He's looking downfield for a man, but he goes to the outside, picks up the first down. San Diego was called for holding defensively. But it was a gutsy call.
Sure was.
That's, an onside.
There's no question the game hung in the balance. I mean, any chance Cleveland had of winning was gone if that play didn't go, because the Chargers and all that offense would have had the ball 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line of Cleveland with a 14-point lead. The chances are great that San Diego would have gone in for another. While we have a delay in the action now, we'll look at some of the other scores coming in. The Vikings have just scored on a Galbraith run. It's 19-14. Miami leading. Giants have just scored a 2-yard run by Butch Woolfolk. They now trail Houston 14-10 with 6.5 to play in the 4th quarter. Green Bay is putting a hurting on the Buffalo Bills. It's 30-7 in the 4th quarter. Stenerud just kicked the field goal. 26-13, the Bears lead the New England Patriots at Chicago. On 1st and 10, here's Brian Sipe looking around. He's got a man. Cleo Miller coming out of the backfield. Got some, not a lot, maybe 3. And he got a load of Bruce Laird when he caught the ball.
I'll tell you, the 2 safeties for the Chargers are real hitters, Laird and Tim Fox. They really will go after you. Now, that time, Cleo Miller was open earlier, and I would have got more yardage had Brian gotten the ball, but Brian is looking not for the short stuff so much, but to go downfield 15 or 20 yards in the middle. But I think that if he wants some quick yardage right away, those backs are open in the flat because the linebackers are flying out.
2nd down and 6. Big rush, and Ferguson is there with the sack, and here's another penalty marker. Keith Ferguson, a 2nd-year player out of Ohio State who's been coming on at defensive end, gets the sack of Brian Sipe. They had one earlier in the game when they caught Sipe when he was running around in the backfield, you remember. Holding against Cleveland.
That's the problem when you have to throw the ball all the time. You're 2 touchdowns down, and the quickest way to score is throwing.
They declined because there was a loss on the sack, and the down was used up, and now it'll be 3rd down and about 13. The 11th penalty of this game against Cleveland. That is definitely a effective strike.
Yes, hurts.
So now the Cleveland offense, which has played very well in the 2nd half. San Diego's not scored in the 2nd half. The Cleveland offense must deliver here on a 3rd down and 14 play. Up to 22. There's the throw. Charles White has it. But he's not going to get to the first down yardage. He got out to the 30, almost 5 yards short. Woodrow Lowe hemmed him in and knocked him down.
Pretty good pressure by that defensive front 4 of the San Diego Chargers. They made Brian Sipe throw that ball a little sooner than he wanted to. And once again, the linebackers, defensive backs, just dropping back, conceding the short stuff in front. That's why you can't get in a 3rd and 15 situations. You can't be holding and get into a situation like that. You can pick up 5 and 6 yards very easily on a team that drops back so quickly. But 15 and 16 yards is a little more difficult to attain.
scheduling is certainly with the Raiders the rest of the way. They have one away game next week. And this is how a punt coming from Steve Cox looks to a San Diego receiver, James Brooks. It ain't easy returning those punts. And James Brooks elects not to on that one. The Chargers, as we mentioned, will be at San Francisco to go against the 49ers next Saturday, a game you'll see here on NBC. Then they'll be home against Cincinnati on Monday, December 20th, home against Baltimore, then the Raiders. In reception, we tell you that this 1982 National Football League game is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. By the calling card from Bell for calling when you're away from your home or office. And by Atari, the leader in home video games for fun your whole family can share. Newsom's TD, the subsequent extra point by Barr, made it a 27-13 game. You remember earlier there was a missed extra point by the Browns and 2 missed field goals by Barr. 7 points they could sorely need right now. Bounce to Brooks out of the backfield, no connection. It'll be second down and 10. Len?
Looking at San Diego this second half, it's a completely different team. They only have 45 yards in total offense. One reason is because Cleveland has held the ball most of the second half. But when you're sitting on the sidelines, you know, like the Chargers have been, you get anxious to get in there, and I think that's what happened on that pass that time. Dan Fouts throwing it a little quicker than they wanted to.
He's ready to go again. Here's Dan Fouts setting up in that returfed area of the field. He throws a perfect strike out to Charlie Joyner, turning out of the 37-yard line. He's right where he had to be for a first down.
And that was a perfect pass by Fouts. He really put it the only place where Joyner could catch the ball, still be in bounds, because Ron Bolton, the defensive back, had excellent coverage on it.
Last week, Lenny, I was talking to Fouts at the Chargers practice, and Joyner came over, and I asked Joyner if he was going to play again next year, and Fouts answered that. He said, "You bet he is. He's not allowed to retire till we find somebody better, and that could be a long time." Pitch back to the lone setback Brooks, and he's out ahead to the 39-yard line and knocked down there by Dick Ambrose, by Eddie Johnson. A couple more scores coming in. St. Louis now holding to a 3-point lead over Philadelphia. John Spagnola just caught a touchdown pass from Ron Jaworski to get the Eagles right back in it. There's 12-18 left to play. And the Giants on a Scott Bruner to Butch Woolfolk touchdown pass that covered 40 yards have gone in front of Houston 17-14. James Brooks has 67 yards rushing and 14 carries for San Diego. Quick slant. Chandler, the athlete, looking to break away. Weaving ahead on a 2nd and 8 play. It looks like he has a first down for the Chargers. Hansford Dixon finally caught him.
That was single coverage out there on Chandler, and I think it probably was a check off at the line of scrimmage. When Fouts sees that, sees one-on-one on this man, he gets the ball out to him on just a quick hitch pattern, and then let somebody try to make an open field tackle on him. It's not very easy to do. Because the last time he had the tight, everybody blocking. Everybody stayed in block, even included the tight end.
8:13 to play in the game now. Chargers with this drive, their only good one of the second half, are using up the clock, and of course they still have the 27-13 lead to San Diego as Brooks tries to run wide. On first down, there's not much there. Now while we have them all, we switch back to NFL 82 in New York.
This is Len Berman, NFL 82 in New York, and the Giants have just taken the lead over Houston. It's Bruner to Butch Woolfolk. Here's the catch of the day. A turnaround, spin around, one-hand grab, 40 yards. The Giants have taken the lead. Let's go back to Cleveland.
7:32 left to play in the game. Chargers have the ball. 2nd down and 9 coming up. Up the middle it goes, and catching the ball is Kellen Winslow. He's not had one of his big days, but you're always ready for him to detonate into a defense and break it apart. He goes ahead for a first down there, and the Chargers drive on.
Kellen Winslow and Ozzie Newsome both had 226 career receptions coming into the game. And here it is. He's going between the linebackers. Fouts is reading the linebackers, and he gets the ball to Kellen Winslow. And Fouts, I believe, has said that he thinks that Kellen Winslow is the finest athlete in the National Football League. I don't know as if there's going to be too many people that will argue with him.
Well, the numbers certainly back it up. 177 receptions in the last 2 seasons. Came in today with 24 receptions. And Newsom, who'd been quiet, there were 8 tight ends who caught more balls than Newsom through the first 4 weeks, with 9 receptions today for 130 yards. His most productive day as a Cleveland Brown. He's had some great ones. Now the clock shows 7 minutes left to play. There's Ozzie Newsome, the Wizard of Oz. Very few go over the middle and catch the ball and take the hit like he does.
Well, that's, shows a sign of a player that is an outstanding one now. Both Newsom and Kellen Winslow, they know when they make the catch between linebackers, somebody is going to hit.
First and 10, up the middle and running with the ball is Ricky Bell, who's done very little since coming from Tampa Bay. Has very little playing time. Today, Muncie's not played since the second quarter. Buffalo Bills trailing 30-7 to Green Bay have just scored on a Ferguson to Mark Bramer tight end pass play. It's 30-14 now. Green Bay leading.
What San Diego has to do is keep control of that ball and not give it away to Cleveland.
Second down and 7. Whoa! Chandler's open. Wes Chandler flying down the near sideline, and Dan Fouts with a sonar accuracy pass.
And he paid for it. Clinton Burrell, the strong safety, really hit him as he made that reception along the sidelines.
Fouts looks the defense away, then throws a perfect lead strike.
There is the hit. And believe me, that hurts. Fouts knows exactly where everybody is on that football. I'm talking about his receiver. So what he does is just read the defense to see what they're going to give him.
Chargers mounting an impressive drive now in the fourth quarter and running the clock as they give it to James Brooks, who hits now the 11-yard line.
Clock is definitely a factor now. 5:55 and counting down in this football game, and a 14-point lead for the San Diego Chargers. So it looks like, unless they give the football away, Cleveland is in deep trouble, because they're definitely in field goal range right now.
And Eric Coryell on the move as the season wears on. Getting set to head to San Francisco next Saturday. Brooks runs it down to the 10-yard line. And the Chargers keep the clock ticking. It's down to 5:20 and running. Fourth quarter, Chargers lead the game 27-13. They led at the half 27-3. Golick again was on the tackle, the middle guard for the Cleveland Browns, playing over the nose of center Don Masick of San Diego.
Marshall Harris also came in there, and he just threw his body to cut that ball carrier down at the line of scrimmage.
Chandler goes left. Charlie Jr. goes right. Winslow's deployed left. Eric Sievers set to the right. Third down and 4.
The blitz is on.
James Brooks is on. It's down close to the 6-yard line. Very close to a first down. He's running for that red tape, which marks the first down spot.
That was a good guess by the San Diego Chargers. It was a quick count. The blitz was on, which means the defense is all coming up the middle, penetrating the middle, looking to stop the passing game. They pitched it outside, which means the pursuit is up the middle. It's not to the outside.
Fourth down an inch or so. Rolf Benirschke in that padded left arm come trotting on out to try a field goal, which will be a short one straight away. This can be a very difficult place to kick. This open end of Cleveland Stadium. The lake is just beyond it, and the winds come in. They've kicked up now, blowing across the field. Luther holding. Benirschke into the ball nicely. He's as accurate as has ever been from inside the 30, hitting over 95% inside the 30 during his career. 4:43 left to play. Benirschke puts the Chargers up 30-13. As good as there is inside the 40-yard line. Look at that, he's only missed 2. And here's his kickoff downfield. Dino Hall takes it for the Browns. He's to the 20 and to the 21. So with just 4:34 left to play, Ryan Sipe and the Cleveland offense come out again. A long day in Cleveland now as San Diego, after the Browns dominated the third quarter, very much in command. This is Don This is Don Criqui back at Cleveland Stadium, 30-13. Seattle and the Raiders hook up today. You've seen Seattle lately, Lenny. They must be a good-looking outfit.
Defensively, they've really come on strong. Against Denver in the first quarter, they shut them out. Against Pittsburgh, they shut them out 16-0, won the game. Good throw by
Ricky Feature is right there at the 49-yard line. First down, Cleveland. A good throw by Seifert. Feature turning out takes the ball for a 28-yard Cleveland gain. Art Modell, the president of the Cleveland Browns.
Right behind him, a great receiver, Paul Warfield, who's the vice president with the Cleveland Brown organization.
To the right was Bill Davis, the head of personnel. The Giants rallied from behind. They were down 14-3 and beat the Oilers 17-14. Fulton is out wide to the right now. Sipe stands in, throws long. Look at the catch by Dave Logan. A one-hand reception down to the 32-yard line.
Don, I saw him earlier, and he caught that with his right hand, and he was holding his right shoulder. Most of the type of catches that the Cleveland Browns receivers have been making over the years. A high pass. Sipe getting a little bit of pressure, but you're going to see number 85, Dave Logan, go up in the air, bring it down into his stomach, changes the ball to the other hand. A first down. Great catch.
What an athlete. The only player in the NFL that was drafted to play professionally in all three major sports. He was drafted in Major League Baseball, basketball, and also, as we're well aware, football by the Browns, who's been a great one coming out of Colorado 7 years ago. 6'5", 210. And now the Browns drive on with 3:27 to play. Brian Sipe has been hot here in the second half. Our producer Michael Wiseman pointing out that he's now completed 13 passes in a row to tie a team record. This one's completed. It sets a record. The Browns need more, and they need it quickly, though, with the clock running with 3:05 left to play. Ricky Feature, the receiver. Woodrow Lowe, the hitter.
I'm looking at Dave Logan, and he is really carrying his right shoulder low. That catch that he made was amazing because I know it had to be very painful. 332 yards. Now you ask why is Sam Partigliano staying with this pass? Because he can do it.
Swing pass. And oops. That stops the streak. You would have thought the streak would have gone to 15 for sure on that.
Well, I know, but I think maybe he really wasn't that concerned about it. I'm sure Brian doesn't even know that.
No.
But he's more interested in stopping the clock with 2:39 remaining. Taking a look at Dave Logan, number 85, the fine receiver for the Cleveland Browns. He is running down there, but to me, I've watched him, and he's not doing much with his right hand, his right arm. I think his right shoulder is bothering him. That's why I say, Don, it's even that more amazing that he was able to make that great one-handed catch. Got the receiver spread out all over the field. It's a draw play.
At that time, good defense by Rick Ackerman. Number 91, he stopped the draw.
Number 85, Dave Logan. Look, well, you can see something's wrong with him. Now, look, he's not moving the right arm at all. He's been doing that, I know, for the entire fourth quarter. We're going to be back with San Diego well ahead, 2:21 remaining. Browns still have the ball. We'll be back in just a moment. Look at his right arm. Now that defensive back, the way he's running out there, not utilizing his right arm, Jeff Allen, the defensive back, knows that he is not going to catch the ball. And now he's come to the sidelines. He's been hurting, I know, I think, all of the fourth quarter. And I said that about 3 times. It really amazes me that he was able to bring that one reception down when he caught it with his right hand.
Ozzie Newsome with 10 receptions today. Franco Harris in one game for the Steelers caught 11. That was the most numerically productive day for any receiver. Franco getting all of his out of the backfield, obviously, and Ozzie's been getting a lot of his way downfield for the Browns. He has a lot of yards to go with the 10 receptions. Now the game clock is going to wind down to 2 minutes.
2 tight ends in the ball game, and you've got Ozzie Newsome out as a wide receiver.
So with 2 minutes on the clock and play stop, Brian Sipe comes to the sideline for some counsel. And now Now, here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. The Cleveland Browns trailing with 2 minutes to play in the game, 30-13. Have the ball now at the 10-yard line. Actually, the nose of the ball inside the 10, so it will be first and goal. And Dave Logan, despite a bad right shoulder, who made that one-handed catch with the right hand, then came out back in the lineup as the Browns try to get it into the end zone with time probably too short to let them get back in this game, although they're going to be pitching the whole way.
Well, they've got to score a touchdown, an onside kick, score another touchdown, another onside kick. It's going to be very difficult. I'd be very surprised. I'm looking at Dave Logan. I might be surprised if they went to him.
They're bringing 2 people over. Williams is on him, and Laird comes over to double up on it because he can go up in the air to get it, as we saw a little bit ago. And they're looking at Logan. They're going up the middle, though, and it's to the fullback, Pruitt. And Cliff Thrift, the middle linebacker, doing his job well, picking up the first back out on pass coverage, makes the knockdown. A gain of 2 yards. It's the game clock winding down to 1:38 to play. Was looking the wrong way, and Sipe is red hot over that because it was very nearly intercepted, and if it was, well, Sipe could have made the tackle. It was going the distance.
Right. His job is to take that linebacker out of there, but if he gets out there quickly, gets his head turned around, the ball might come to him. That's what happened on that occasion. Very slow with the head coming around. You can't afford to do that down there. The back going out of the backfield's got to get out there as quickly as he can to get his head turned around, look for the ball. Cannot assume it is not going to be thrown to you down here.
Oh, Dino Hall, who lost one earlier in the end zone, seemingly had a touchdown there. But he loses the ball, and that brings up 4th down and goal from the 6-yard line. A field goal of no consequence now. Touchdown really isn't, but the Browns will have to try for one.
33 completions for Sipe. That's a team record. The old record was 31. But when you look at the scoreboard, that doesn't mean anything at all because it says San Diego 30, Cleveland 13.
Thanks. So we have a moment to NBC statistician Joe Costanza, for our spotters John Betschall and Pete Halpin, also helping in the booth Don Drebus and Gary Chubik. 4th and goal for the Cleveland Browns, 6-yard line of San Diego. Well, a blitz comes and incomplete. Lyndon King coming from the weak linebacker side, and Lyndon King gets to Brian Sipe. He has to release the ball for no connection, and the ball turns over to the Chargers with 1:19 to play.
That time they had the backs going out of the backfield. They had the receivers going downfield. Number 82 is Newsome. It's man-to-man coverage. He's working on Baird. Baird slips, and he's wide open, but Sipe threw it short because number 57, the linebacker of the San Diego Chargers, Lyndon King, was all over him. If he had to have been, it would have been a touchdown for the Cleveland Browns, I'm sure.
Defensive coordinator Tom Bass of the Chargers calling for a blitz at an opportune time as they stop what would have been a short touchdown for Cleveland, and now San Diego with 4 downs looking to run out the clock and end it and extend their record to 3-2, heading to San Francisco for a game Saturday with the 49ers that you'll see here on NBC. The run up the middle by James Brooks takes the ball to the 11, and the game clock is down to 1:12 as Cleveland signals 4 and is allotted a timeout.
Cleveland has 1 timeout remaining.
Next Sunday, we've got doubleheader football action here on NBC Sports. The Battle of Ohio features the Browns visiting Ken Anderson and the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals, who are having their problems at the moment in Baltimore. Many of you will see the Pittsburgh Steelers, who looked impressive again today, pitted against the Buffalo Bills. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, the Raiders and the Chiefs renew their rivalry, while the Denver Broncos take on the Los Angeles Rams. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL 82, right here on the home of the Super Bowl, NBC Sports. Sam Ratigliano, his face reflecting the difficult position he and the Browns are in right now. Their record will drop to 2-3 in this strike-short season. Their playoff hopes with every loss diminished greatly. As Ratigliano said before the game, you can't call it a must game, but certainly the team that loses is going to be way down in a bid for a playoff position.
I think the last scene that we were looking at, the empty seats at this 80,000 seat stadium here. When you win, you fill them.
Browns sure do, but James Brooks calls it and takes it out close to the 16-yard line with the game clock coming down to 1 minute to play, and the Browns are allotted their last timeout. A famous arena it is, Cleveland Stadium, a cavernous stadium. The Browns, 1981, you see, 72,000. The average attendance always, they're near the top or at the top of the National Football League's attendance list. It's in this stadium that the Browns, behind the passing arm of Otto Graham, came to the National Football League in 1950 and won the league championship their first year. Lost in the championship game the next 2 years and then won 2 straight NFL titles. 3 of the first 5 years they were in the NFL. They won the National Football League championship and lost in the playoff in the final game on 2 occasions. The Browns' last championship came on the Frank Ryan, Gary Collins team. Leroy Kelly running back in 1964. 1:03 left to go, and there's the final numbers up. The Miami Dolphins open up a 4-1 record, an impressive victory today over the Minnesota Vikings. Miami rebounding from Monday night loss to Tampa Bay.
I think that's why this game was so important. There were 6 teams with a 3-1 record, 4 teams with a 2-2 record. That included the 2 teams out here this afternoon.
James Brooks takes it ahead and gets a first down for San Diego. Now the Browns, out of timeouts, helpless to stop the clock, as the Chargers huddle at their leisure, ready to sail on back to San Diego and get ready for the Niners. And of course, coming up next, NFL Report, as the stories, the highlights, and the scores of week number 5 come in. The biggest upset on the board at the moment is Baltimore leading Cincinnati, but that one has a ways to go. They started at 2 o'clock Eastern time in Baltimore. Dan Fouts with the countdown play. Coach Coryell has been doing a big job and very well. Sam Rutigliano's Browns going off the field. Losers for a 3rd time this season in 5 games, and the Chargers really starting to roll now after consecutive victories over Denver and today the Cleveland Browns. The final score, San Diego 30, Cleveland 13. We'll be right back at Cleveland Stadium. Brody back at Cleveland Stadium, where it's ended another Charger victory. Excuse me, John Brody. Len Dawson, normally with Mr. Brody at my side. Len Dawson very much here, the man who played with the Browns before he got a chance to play, and when he finally did at Kansas City, he's still wearing that Super Bowl ring, as we see.
Now you take a look at Chuck Muncie walking on the field. Chuck did not play in the second half. Looked like he had injured his nose, which shouldn't be any big problem, but he did grab his knee when he was tackled on the sideline. Sam Rutigliano, as you can tell by the expression on his face, not very happy with the loss. That's an uphill battle now for the Cleveland Browns. For this man, Don Coryell, and the San Diego Chargers, they've got, look, he even smiled, I believe.
He's starting to break a smile.
That they're very much back in the thick of it.
The coordinating producer of NBC Football and the director of today's game is Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by Michael Wiseman. Technical director Rick Lombardo. Associate director John Libretto. Now stay tuned for the Budweiser NFL Report right after these messages from your local stations. That's coming up from New York. NFL 82 as the San Diego Chargers, behind the right arm of Dan Fouts, roll to another victory. A lot of offense, particularly in the first half when they build up an insurmountable 27-3 lead, and the Chargers go on to win 30-13. They didn't do a whole lot offensively in the second half. They didn't have to. Now for Len Dawson, this is Don Criqui. Glad you could be with us at Cleveland. NFL 82 is coming up after these words from your local station.
A promotion.